Take a look. It's April 23rd, 2025. I am at Joel Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. TheJoelPearl.com on Blue Sky. Forgot to add that part. I'm back. Hello. It's like I never left, but I did leave, and I'm also very tired. But the person who held down the fart all week, held down the fart, held down the fort, held down.
That's what I thought you said. I was like, what? Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. But Jeremy Lambert's here. Thank you, buddy, for a wonderful week at ITW and all the work that you do. And also shout out to SB3 who held it down with you guys while I was away. I do appreciate that. So how you doing today, bud?
I'm well. I'm tired, but I guess Mania week's over. I don't know. They finally left Las Vegas yesterday after NXT, so maybe it's over. The work doesn't stop, you know. I don't know if you know this, Joel, but the offseason lasts about 12 minutes after WrestleMania, and then I get handed another article to do, and then I'm just like, well, that's the offseason.
Well, not only that, I mean, you can argue that the weekend ends when Rhea Ripley leaves town, and I saw her leaving town, so the weekend ended at like 11:55 on Monday night Pacific time.
Okay.
Just letting people know. Buddy Matthews was also with her. So there was all that. Good to see them. Can I tell you how weird it is to the idea of putting all of your talent in the hotel that you called the Hotel of WrestleMania, when for years people have been saying, please don't stock the talent at the Talent Hotel. And now they're telling you the talent are staying at this hotel, and so should you. It's a very strange position to be in. To be in that hotel, to be seeing talent walking around and trying and just feeling awkward. I think the best word I could say is awkward. Because anytime I had to go to Fontainebleau, I just felt like I was like, I don't need or want to be here. Except for the one day where I did need to be there. And even then I was away from where people are because we were in a conference room for media scrums. It's a very weird feeling to be around all that talent when you're not supposed to. I don't like it.
Sorry.
That's better. Thank you. We'll talk about my Mania week in a few minutes. But first, of course, you can go ahead and you can leave a thumbs up on the video. That goes a long way. We do appreciate that. It goes everywhere into your algorithms and all that stuff. And of course, did the fireworks come out? Or the fireworks? Perfect. You know, I was working off of a MacBook for the last week. I probably should have done it myself when I showed up. Probably could have made the gestures. Anyway, and also you can subscribe to the channel. We're growing. We're getting there. We're moving. We're grooving. We're not there at 20,000 yet, but damn it, we will be. We will be soon. I want to buy all in Texas. So now you have until July to get us all the way up to 20,000 subscribers. Get us going. And of course, you can donate a super chat. Any amount to get your question or statement read on the air. And of course, it also guides our conversation like Louis wants to when he says, nah. What is this?
What? Nah. What? Oh, hold on. No.
What is this? Booker T ass tweet. Oh no, is this a Master P thing?
How effing white is Joel Pearl?
I'm very white.
After that,
we're very white. We know this.
What was that?
I'm so tired, Jeremy. I don't think people do not understand. I was up 38 hours yesterday.
What?
I have no idea where I am or what I'm doing.
What was that?
Things just kind of exist in my brain.
Oh my gosh.
Louis, if anything, I should charge you another one. My bad.
Yeah, we owe Louis a refund.
We don't owe Louis.
We
so done.
We got to refund Louis after that.
No, we don't.
I don't know what Joel just did. I apologize for Joel's whiteness. I'm sorry, everybody.
I'm usually really good at controlling that, but today I'm just not. It's just not happening. Sorry, friends. I can't win. You want to do it right? Can you do it right? Because I sure shit can't right now.
Make them say, na 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 na. Hooty
Thank,
hoo.
thank you. Sorry. Oh god. Zeno Howard, Joel so white. He is white.
So white.
Y'all, I'm so sorry. I apologize to everybody. I'm so much better than that. Was that you or me? Was that your phone that just went ding?
No, my phone didn't go off.
Oh, maybe another device. Oh, it's my charger's trying to go. Anyway, okay. Let me try this again. Not the super chat. Master P is on the show on Dynamite tonight. I have a theory, by the way, as to why he might be on the show.
Okay.
It's actually a serious theory. That's okay. That is me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
what? Yeah, why is your
my I was trying to charge my AirPods, and for some reason the charger's just being stupid and not catching the charge. So I'm taking them off the dock for now. It's not my phone ringing. Anyway, House of Glory. I'm pretty sure Master P still has a stake in that, doesn't he? Stake in ownership?
Allegedly.
Well, House of Glory they were the first to announce that they were running All in Texas over that weekend outside of AEW, and they got a show on the Friday going into it, and they just moved Death Before Dishonor to September instead of doing it that weekend at All in Texas. So I think maybe Master P's showing up because maybe there's some House of Glory integration going on that we don't know about, or maybe he's just a guest and he'll be on the show and that'll be that. But I was just thinking about the House of Glory stuff today because he does have a connection there.
Okay. Maybe. I just think they're in New Orleans, and so what up? Master P's in the building.
That's fair. Getting random texts from my neighbors now. Later. So they're now doing. They moved everything. This was like a big long text chain from AEW too in the tweet. That probably could have been multiple tweets. So now Supercard is no longer May the 5th. It's been moved.
We talked about this yesterday. What are we doing?
I don't watch the show.
Okay. We don't need to talk about this again.
I don't know. I'm catching up here.
All right, fine. Go for it.
So when do they move Supercard to? Is that now all in weekend?
Supercard's now all in weekend, yes.
Perfect. Because why wouldn't you have Supercard during All In weekend when it's your biggest weekend? That's Supercard, hence Supercard. And then they moved Death Before Dishonor to September 5th because they're going to be 2300 Arena. So there's that. Why is it going to be a 2300 Arenas? Because someone asked Tony, like, hey, can you run a show there? And he's like, yeah, I'll think about it. And then he ended up doing it. Good for him. What are they going to do that weekend too? Are they running a Collision at that weekend?
What weekend?
The 5th weekend. The September 5th weekend.
Oh. And they haven't announced anything. They've only announced the Death Before Dishonor. They're running a Dean show as well.
That's right. He did announce that he's going to be part producer on that. That's pretty cool. I was actually pleasantly, not even, I wouldn't say surprised, but I was quite happy to hear that Tony wanted to get involved with that because I know he was a big message board guy, big on DVD review. God, I can't remember the names of these message boards 25, 30 years later, but it's good to see him.
DVD-DR?
Yeah, digital reviews. Yeah, so it was DVD, Death Valley Driver, digital. I'm so tired. We're done. Tony's going to be a part of that. Good for him. Anyway, okay. Dynamite's tonight. Let's just preview that and get out of here. Should I talk about the week I just had?
I figured you were. Like, you're talking about like Supercard moving, which we already talked about yesterday, and you're I thought very white. And
I thought, well, first of all, I had to balance it after SP3 was here for the last week. But also I figured that SP3 was still here, just eulogizing New Japan Pro Wrestling, because last time I was on this show, he was just like upset and a half over all the departures. Did he get over it?
That's true. Yeah, we moved on. We had a lot to talk about. So
you sure he was very distraught that day?
Yeah, he was.
He was pretty much beside himself. Had to cry into a pillow while I was here. And then his daughter ran in and said, "No one gives a shit." Oh, that girl knows exactly what she's doing. Anyway, shall we?
I went to Vegas. Tell us about your Vegas trip, Joel.
You just looking for a break from talking?
No, I'm fine. I thought that's what you were gonna be talking about. Is the Vegas trip?
You can ask questions at any point.
Did you have fun? Did you lose a bunch of money? Did you get any hookers?
Did I have fun? Mostly.
Okay.
Did I lose any money? Only on the Ubers, but I get those reimbursed, I hope. And I gambled like maybe $15 at the airport, by the way. I was so busy throughout the entirety of my trip that I didn't have any like me/gambling time, which I'm not even a gambler or a drinker for that matter. I just kind of went to the airport and I was like, I'm gonna eat at this Chili's, this overpriced stupid Chili's, and then I'm gonna, use this $10 that turned into 15, and then I lost the 15. So that's basically all I lost. And yeah, and what was the last question? The hookers? There were no hookers. Sorry, bud.
I thought that's what you spent all your money on. So,
MJF took them all. MJF took them all and he didn't bring them back.
Okay. All right.
Henry asking, how much did you hate seeing the AEW ads at the airport? I can't remember if I mentioned this. That literally was the first thing I saw coming down the escalators at Harry Reid. I was just like, Dynamite ads? I mean, I'm not surprised, but also, of course, this is the first thing that I see. I thought it was good, but also it just kind of further proves that some of the brain marketing, like some of the marketing brain for AEW, I should say, is stuck on promoting to wrestling fans. I'm not saying that's all that they do, but there are times where it's just like, I don't think that Joe wrestling fan who's going to these shows sees the AEW ads and is like, I need to watch this. I just think that they just say, oh, it's more wrestling on an already packed week of wrestling. So I don't know if I don't think if it establishes in people's mind that this exists beyond like, I'm here for WrestleMania and that's it. I don't know.
Joel is finding a way to be negative towards AEW promoting wrestling to wrestling fans.
Well, no. So here's what's actually very interesting. I don't mind saying this out loud. I spoke to some people in AEW in the PR department over the weekend, or over the week, I should say, and they understand WWE reaching out and finding those Access Hollywoods and those billboards and all those people and like getting them to come to WrestleMania. And they want this too. Not only do they want this too, but they're like, we want to get out there beyond just the wrestling fans because the wrestling fans will always be there. So like they have the idea, they have a strategy, or they want to have a strategy to go beyond the reach of wrestling fans. They want to get out there. But when I see stuff like that at the airport, it's like, okay, it's there. I don't think they spent an inordinate amount of money on it, but I wonder whether or not it's effective in the long term for them. That's all. And it's not a negative thing. It's just, again, from the conversations I had, they want the more mainstream outreach, and I get that. And in some cases, they do get it, but they're trying to kind of focus their marketing away from just wrestling fans who, guess what? They're already there. They're already attending the shows.
There's also just a lot of casual wrestling fans that are there who may not know about AEW. Like there's a lot of
people don't know about the stuff that we do either, which is very interesting. Let me tell you. Which I knew this, by the way, going into it, but continue.
Are you talking about the fans or the people?
The fans. The fans.
Well, yeah. I hope a lot of fans don't know what we do.
Well, they need to know what we do. We need the views, Jeremy. The views and the clicks and all that, right? Big old clickbaitities. John Cena. Every question's fake.
Okay. Continue on.
No, I wanted you to continue your thoughts with the AEW, with the marketing, because you had started something. I cut you off.
I don't remember.
You sure?
Yeah. They marketed to wrestling fans. I don't see the downside to it.
Again, it's less a downside. It's more I don't know. Is it going to be necessary? Is it worthwhile? But
so they just shouldn't do it?
I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. Okay. I just that's again, I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. I don't think it was a bad thing that they did it. My only question was, how is it going to be? Is it going to help them? Will it convert? Who knows? And I don't think they'll know either, because it's out there. So who knows?
I think doing it is better, and then maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but there's no downside to it. You have a mass conglomeration of people, not only just wrestling fans, it's a friggin' airport. There's a lot of people there in a pretty big tourist destination, Las Vegas, for a pretty big week, whether it's WrestleMania week or not. It's Easter week.
That's when it's down.
It's 420 week. Feels like it's pretty good to just promote that kind of stuff.
Sure. So I get there, and that's one of the first things I see. I had a good laugh. Got to the hotel, checked in, all good. Shout out to Circa. They were fantastic for the week. It seemed like everyone was there when I wasn't there, which was hilarious to me. Whenever I was covering an event or just doing something else, everyone was over there. So I guess they just got the memo. Joel's gone, so let's just go sit out, stadium, swim, and have fun. I get it. Busted open, bunch of cowards. Didn't get to see them. The only busted open person I saw was Denise, and then Tommy Dreamer when I was at the airport trying to eat my meal while him and Braun Strowman and a bunch of others are sitting at a table next to me. And I'm like, come on, man, not now. I don't want to do this. So I put on my earbuds and I just ignored everyone. So that's on the way out. On the way in, Circa was great. Had a really wonderful room. The internet was great. So I was happy with that. I was just, had a good time there. That's Tuesday. Wednesday. Showed up here, didn't I? I was on this show. I was happy and bright and everything right. We did the Joe Hendry interview. It was good. Matthew Hook saying LaGreca had an aneurysm about Mania. I did see that. A lot of people feel a different way, and The Rock may have exacerbated that. We'll talk about that a little later. So, so I did the Joe Hendry interview. I think that was on the Wednesday in the afternoon. Went well. We talked about it on Thursday's show that it went well. It's out there. You can go check it out. Did the Lil Mars interview as well. That went really well. That was a lot of fun. She's fantastic. You'll see more of her. She's a great Australian wrestler who was visiting the States for the last 3 months. She did a couple shows during Mania week, but got to hang out with her afterwards and see Shaza McKenzie and Nikki XS and some other wrestlers as well. Zoe Lucas was there. Got to say hello to them because I hadn't seen them in a while, and that was really nice. And yeah, we just kind of enjoyed the evenings. When the evenings were free, they were nice to have. Thursday night was Bloodsports. That was a lot of fun. That was a busy house. A lot of people there. Very happy to have a badge for that, for the collective. Shout out to GCW. Having a media badge for that show was nice because I can run around freely. I'm not confined to my seat. And I was able to get video, get shots, get anything I needed, and just say hi to people, which was also really helpful because I was trying to run around and see a lot of people. We saw there's a lot of shorts up on both here. The Carmen Petrovic short, I think, is on this channel. And then there are others that are on the main channel, just entrances and comments. And Karrion Kross, of course, being a Vegas native, he was very popular with the crowd. The match he had with JR Kratos, I think, was underrated because you had, Natty and Mayu, and then you also had the main with Barnett and Gabe Kidd, and then you also had the Thatcher and Dunn match. I see Redmond Survivor saying WWE Bloodsport. Yeah, half the card was WWE, and that also brought in half of the audience. It was one of the most attended Bloodsports they've ever done. They had the venue for it. WWE absolutely played a role in getting that many people in seats. But I think for the most part, like, they saw it as the fans who were there saw it as a positive. They had fun. I think most of the talent who were there saw Bloodsport as something different. Most of them dressed differently. It was funny watching Pete Dunne show up in like his wrestling gear to do this. And Carmen Petrovic too. I was just like, you have a background in this stuff. Like, why didn't you pack your gi? Like, why didn't you do the thing? But everyone's different. Kross, again, going back to Kross, he came out looking like a badass, and they gave him the mic. He opened the show during the presentation with all the fighters. He was great, and his match was great. And I was surprised by Kratos, not because I didn't think he wasn't a good performer, but just he brought a different side, which I really liked. And the rest of the show was just solid stuff. If you didn't see it, I do recommend watching it on Triller TV Plus. As our friend Steven Jensen would say, I'm not endorsed to say that, but that's where you can find all GCW collective events. So that was Thursday, and where are we? Now we're Friday. Friday was media day. Friday was media morning. This was a funny event because it was supposed to be in the afternoon, then it got pushed to 8:30 in the morning. Once it got pushed, I was ecstatic because I am up that early anyway. All of my friends who were there, all the media people were like, "Oh, this sucks, I hate it." And I'm like, "This is great, I'm going to be up." So I got there. Media day has changed over the years. It continues to change. They had in the room were, I'm trying to remember this now because again, my brain is foggy as hell. Carlito, Lyra Valkyria, and Dakota Kai are people that I spoke to. Ricky Saints was there, Stephanie Vaquer was there, the War Raiders were there, and I was upset because I missed them by literally one interview. Shout out to Adrian Hernandez. He got the last one before they pulled the War Raiders. And Hernandez and I were like next to each other. It was in like one grouping of people. We all kind of grouped up. It was myself, Adam Barnard, of course, good pal, Adrian, and we had Alex, Queen of the Ring. She was with us too. And then there was another dude who pulled up later, who was I think from the UK. So yeah, we were able to chat with a few people, but I love my media friends. I do, whether I just named you or not. Some people who are in that room, there's one thing that I really wish people would stop doing in that room, and that is taking selfies with the wrestlers. It's more about time consuming than anything else. Because I get that it's like 10 seconds to take a selfie, but if you do that with everyone, it does add up. And they're already very limited in a room full of people. And yes, go ahead.
So you uploaded your non-Ricky Saints interview.
Yes.
And I saw.
Yes, you saw that.
Yes. So I know where your selfie hatred is coming from because
it's been there for a long time. It was exacerbated this week when they're already so behind trying to get these people in and out. And it happened at Money in the Bank too, because eventually they had to move everyone into scrum formation and just do it like that. But you know what happens when you move a bunch of content creators who are normally in front of a camera into scrum formation? They don't know how to scrum. They want to get in front of the camera so they can have FaceTime with the star. And it's like, if you want me to do scrum style, I'll do it. But like, if you're going to give me the FaceTime, I'm going to do the FaceTime because that's what our channel has been made on. When they said Gunter's doing scrum style, thankfully I went to the first grouping that was doing scrum style. And shout out to the UK pals, like Alistair McGeorge was there and Alex McCarthy were there. And Joe, whose last name I'm always going to mispronounce. But like a lot of the UK friends were there, Baiamonte. So Joe Baiamonte. So a lot of those pals were there and they know how to do it. And they were doing it scrum style. So I ran over to theirs because I knew I'd get my question in and there wouldn't be people trying to get in front of the camera to ask Gunther a question. But yeah, when I saw people just like asking like, hey, can I get a selfie? Can I get a selfie? I'm thinking to myself, you're going to be in front of the camera with these people. Take a screen cap afterwards. That's what I do. I take a screen cap from the interview and I post it afterwards because I'm more proud about the work that I did with the talent than I am meeting the talent. With full respect to the wrestlers, I could care less about meeting them. I'm more energized when I get a good conversation from them. So that's just, if you're watching and you go to these things, please reconsider taking selfies with the wrestlers. Do it on the off time. Don't do it during the work time because it just takes away completely from the opportunities to actually do our jobs. So that was Media Day. And then they did another media event. They did two other media events, by the way, because they took a bunch of people over to do like a social media gathering, and a bunch of the UK friends went over to that. It was like Dom Mysterio and some others that did comments with people. I think it was a 2K style scrum. I don't know what it was, but it was half-heartedly explained to me. And then they did the one at the kickoff. That was a T-Mobile Arena. That was again scrum style. They had Access Hollywood, Billboard. They did Yahoo on Crown. Those folks were just put on the line, and you ask your questions as you went. The red carpet at After Dark was similar to that, and perfect timing to talk about all of this when he's ready to join us. We'll get there. But yeah, that was kind of the start to Media Day. That was Friday, and then we can talk more about SmackDown. And I went to Joey Janela's spring break, and I didn't get to talk about that on this show yet. But first, we're gonna welcome on someone else who was very much all over the scene for the week, and our pal Cam's here. Hi, Cam.
Hello, Cam.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, we're at
buddy.
It's funny. Me with my perfect timing. So I was at the second media day that they had, and just for a little more context, Joel explained it great. So basically, it was at the same time as the kickoff outside of T-Mobile Arena, right? So what they would do, whoever you saw on the kickoff, who was like doing a thing or promoting a thing or getting their match ready, they would run them into the building through an entrance immediately to the left and then run them through media, right? And it was like Billboard and Complex and Access Hollywood was in there. And so my man Jeff Johnson from Bleacher Report. And so at first it was meant to be like an individual talk to everybody gets their time thing. And they had to literally like break it down to a scrum, right? So me being me, I'm like, okay, guys, here's how we should do it. Everybody should get 2 questions. Everybody just asks 2 questions. We'll break it down like that. They were not having it, Jack. They were like, I came in here with my script. It's like the first 10 plays of a football game. I came in here with my script. This is what we're running. This is what we're doing. And like everybody's very nice. So it's not no beat, but it was just like, guys, you could have shared the wealth a little bit. Me being me, I didn't ask any questions. I just even for me, it's kind of better for me to play the back. I filmed everybody's questions because eventually that could turn into a thing. You know what I mean? But like I just kind of sat back, let them do the thing. To flip a story really quickly into 2 days. So Bianca comes in, and me and Bianca are like real life cool, right? So we're talking about Booster, and I told him I haven't really said anything. I can say it now because he's almost better. Booster broke his leg in February. Booster broke his leg. Like I think I talked to Bianca on a Friday. Booster jumped out of a shopping cart that somebody at the vet put him in. I should sue. But and he broke his leg. It was 2 months ago. 2 months ago tomorrow. So he's almost better now. He's doing great. He's active. He's crazy. So I'm with Bianca and I show her the picture. She's like, what happened? And I told her. So we had a good laugh about that. So then on Monday, and Jeremy, you're gonna love Monday. On Monday, I'm with Docs and Tez. And so I'm talking to Tez. I'm like, did she make you buy the dog? He was like, Cam, she's trying to, but no. He was like, because one, we don't have the time for the dog, because I couldn't say it at the time. But when we did the interview, of course, Tez is there. But they don't, they do different things. Right? They try to have them be separate, but Tez is like there. So after we like signed off, me and Tez was talking a little bit, and he's like, "No, we don't have the time." Number one, and he's like, "2, she told the kids about the dog, and the kids are really excited." And Tez says, "I looked at my son and said, did you shower today?" He said, "You can't take care of yourself. How are you going to take care of a dog?" But we had a lot of fun with them. So just and I will time jump right because I don't want to jump over Joe. Joe got to meet my brother, by the way. That was really cool.
That's true.
That's my little brother.
Yeah,
who is like, and Joe, you and I have talked. You've seen me on socials. You've now seen me in person. We've had a bunch of conversations. He's like the polar opposite of me as far as like conversation.
I felt bad because like when we saw each other, it was Wednesday night, right, at Dragon Gate, and I came over and sat with y'all, and you had just gone to grab him, and he's in there like trying to eat his food, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
He's like
I felt
50
bad.
chicken nuggets. He doesn't want to talk to anybody.
I felt a little bad because like he was nice, but I was like trying to get to the seat. He's just like, I just want to eat my food.
Yeah, man, he was not interested in conversation. It's the sweetest kid in the whole world, but no, when he's locked in, he's locked in. But no, so Jeremy, you'll get a kick out of this. So we're at the Netflix brunch was really cool. It's it's all the big media outlets, whatever. Adrian got to go, and it made me so happy because I talked to him on Sunday night, and he was very disappointed. He had a bunch of he had a bunch of private interviews set up. They got canceled because of the schedule, and it's his city too. And I think that he had 100,000 subscribers over the weekend, and you work that hard, the thing comes home, you have to do the most work and the least amount of work. You don't got to travel. You try to bring your stuff and set up. Adrian's been killing it over the last couple of years. And for those things to fall through, it was disappointing. And we're talking outside of the stadium. And listen, as social as I am, Jeremy, by the time we got to about literally right after I called my mom on the stadium phone, when I'm sitting with Noel Foley, cracking all the jokes in the world, I was done. I didn't want to talk to anybody else about anything. Like, I didn't go. Everybody went to the Palomino. I thought the Palomino was just a bar. No, the Palomino's exactly what it sounds like. Everybody went to the Palomino after the show. I went to a casino, had a drink. Shout out to Nixie. Me and Nixie kicked it for a while. We hung out in Austin. Her and I got a drink on the way out. My little homie. But anybody talk to you about the phone call? No, they didn't talk to me about the phone call. Like, but what? What? They got 1-800 call ATT to correct collect? What? They're fine. It's $1 billion stadium. No, I was in there acting ass. That's what I always do. But no, I'm sorry, I lost. Oh, so Adrian got to go to the Netflix brunch, and that was really important because he did get like those one-on-one interviews with everybody. It was Street Profits. It was
I think I saw Javon Evans was there.
Yeah, Liv and Raquel. Javon, I didn't see Javon.
Okay.
It was Liv and Raquel. It was Trick. Kofi was there. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. My new favorite people in the world were there. They're just nice guys. They're just sweet kids. Of course, Jay was there. And listen, I'm not going to say Jay's brand new, but you see the difference in who Jay's been. Not like sidekick's not the word, but it's him, it's brother, it's his little brother, it's Roman, it's Sammy. They kind of get to all roam together. They get to split the time. Listen, man, you get that title on you, it's different. People want a piece of you in a different way. So watching him from Wale Mania to the Netflix brunch, it's like, man, like it really is a lot. And when I talked to him before Mania about just the schedule and him having to sit there and like be there for hours and hours, and kids want to talk to him, people want to talk to him. You see it. It's like, oh, this is going to be different. So how he handles that is going to be really fun to see. I think he's built for it clearly, but wow, it's a world of difference.
Real quickly, the Netflix brunch was Saturday or Sunday?
Oh,
Monday.
No. It was Monday.
Jay. Oh, Monday. Okay, well, in fairness to Jay, like
he's exhausted.
He's exhausted, but like I saw him, he was doing interviews on like Sunday morning. I think Denise did one with him, and like he had been partying a little bit.
So some of those interviews were also at After Dark, which was like the show to be a little intoxicated at.
Shout out to Adam
after Mania too.
You saw the clip with him, Adam, and Jimmy.
I've seen many clips, but yes, yeah.
All right, so Adam's not the tallest guy in the world, and he's not the slimmest guy in the world. He'll tell you this because he had a good time with it. So I don't think he'd met them before. So and they're the dudes who's gonna bust on you. Like they gonna crack their jokes. So they're standing on the other side of him, and Jimmy's like, "Oh, you look like a little Bobby Flay. Like you get down on the grill." It was so cute, and Adam kept his composure. It was so cute. But yeah, like you said, it is. Oh, so we're again. I met Jay over a bottle of champagne a couple of years back, right? So we're at the brunch, and I'm sitting there with because I have two hands, so I have two mimosas. And he's like, I didn't get me one of them oops. I look at him and say, look, I don't think you can do that right now. You're doing interviews and the sun's up, but I'll hold one for you. But he was great. He was great. But Jeremy, again, this is why this is specifically of interest to you. So
are you creating work for me, Cam?
I know I'm building it, right?
Okay.
Also, Black Wrestling. Let's talk about Media Pass on there. Black Wrestling, best hoodie in the world. We wore these to the show. It was great. Solid day.
Love it.
So I'm at the brunch, and first of all, big shout out to Kev on stage. He did the Ashe show. He was there with his wife and his kids, and again, I'm gonna be name dropping all the time. I know Kev personally. Like I met him a few months back at a show, and it was funny when I met him. He's like he was talking to his wife. He's like, "You remember Cam? We met him at Drink." Blah, 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 blah. He's so sweet. Cam did the Ashe show, but he also did all the WrestleMania nights. And him and I are talking, and he's like, Cam, I made the mistake of when I wanted to get back into wrestling, I immediately jumped headfirst into the IWC. And I realized being out here and experiencing this, that the world is bigger than that. I said, yes, it really is. I wish you would have found this side first of being there and experiencing it in person. But the greatest thing he said was, he was like, I love doing the Ashe show because I do WrestleMania with my family and it's big, it's glitz and glamour. When I do a small show, when I'm in the arena, like when I walk outside, everybody's sitting outside on chairs going over what they're going to do. He was like, that's just comedy. Like that's the exact same thing that we do on that smaller level. So a great fit for this thing in wrestling. He's wonderful. His family's wonderful. I wish him all the success. I forgot to tell him, put me on a show, but we'll get there one day, right? But again, Jeremy, I'm building. Kev on stage is there. Whoever is Sherry Shepherd's executive producer for her show, he's there. I say whoever, he was very sweet. I was talking to people and I'm like, I've hung out with you all weekend. What's your socials? And I look at him, oh, you have 50,000 followers. You're one of those guys. But who was sitting in the front booth with his team furiously texting? Shannon Sharp.
I saw that tweet from you.
Hey, I'm literally in the Uber and I see everything. I'm like, I was literally right by him when he sent all this off. Like, this is insane. Oh my God.
Shannon's had some days here. He's had some days. It
was insane. And me and he's active. Liv and I argued Bride of Chucky versus Curse of Chucky again.
I did see your tweet about that. Yes.
Yeah, it was again it was great. I definitely spilled champagne on the actual carpet because me and Wale's DJ we were drink connoisseurs that day. We were drinking everything that I found. I would get 2 of them and hand one to him. I had a good talk with Wale. I was like, hey, it's not the last one. And he was like, dude, I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. And then Kaz was talking to Nick Khan. It ain't the last one. It's going to keep going. And it's just like, I tried to be a fly on the wall as much. And then everybody's favorite PR guy, Chris LeGentle, comes up to me and we're having a conversation. I'm like, I hope nobody takes video of this. But we do the work and they are a company and they appreciate the work. And it doesn't have to be anything more than that. Now, I can't wait till he tells me, hey, you got to write a hit piece on such and such. You got to go get him because I'm going to go get him. Let's do it. Let's do it. But no, that was, for me personally, the way that I interact, that was the best media event specifically for me, just because it was super low key. Like it was, of course, there were a bunch of media people there, like a bunch of big outlets, but like you got to really kick it. Like me and Trick got to really sit back and talk for 15 minutes about what's going on with him. You know what I mean? Like it was great. Monday was great. Okay, I'm gonna shut up and they got my ass, Jeremy. Woo, they got me. Voices of Wrestling got my ass. Oh my God.
I saw you in the after tweet. So was it after that?
No, it was before that. So,
okay.
First of all, everybody embarrasses me when I see them. After's like, yo, let's take a picture, and it's gonna be me with this. And then after you jump in the press conference and ask that question, after I just gassed you up, come on, bro. Yeah, he wasn't helping. But no, what happened was, I told you about the show I did Thursday. I think I told you about that. Did I talk to you Friday, Jeremy? No, maybe.
I
think I might have been on my way.
Together. Right. You jumped on. I think you jumped on Thursday's show.
So I did.
No, it was Friday because what was Media Day? Media Day was Friday. So it was Friday.
Show. Yeah. I had a ball. It was great. Yo, whoever wrote the review on Voices of Wrestling, they were like, nobody on the announce team, including Cam Hawkins, knew who Mao was. I was like, I'm a guest. I'm not even.
No, you're the guest of honor, Cam. You're the guest of honor.
I was like, and people were like, yo, that's fucked up. I was like, nah, he got my ass. Like, people were literally DMing me who know him, like, to apologize. Like, he's being kind of a jerk. I'm sorry. I'm like, nah, he got me. Like, funny is funny, bro. Like, that's good job. Good job. But yeah, they was on my head, boy. That's beef for life. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. Because, I mean, if they're going to be mad at me about things that I get to do that are dope as shit, okay, the proper adversary to have. But yeah. It was great. Again, everybody's so famous, and you kind of forget living in the bubble. Like I'm with the professor. We're outside of media day at T-Mobile. And I'm dabbing him up. We kick. He's like, yeah, man, I just hit 1 million followers on Facebook. I was like, wait, what? 1 million?
You did what?
Like, 1 million? And we're talking to people just come up to him, yo, I'm such a big fan of you. Can I get a picture? And it's just, it is. The Ashe show. You're never gonna have a room like that. With and that was Thursday. Yeah, that was Thursday. So was it Thursday or Friday?
It was Thursday morning, wasn't it?
It was Thursday morning. Shit. Yes. Yeah.
It was. It was Thursday morning. I'm looking at my spreadsheet.
And you're never gonna have a room like that ever again. You know, Black Wrestling, Andreas Hell, Kel Dansby, Kev on stage, Lovely Laveau. Like, you're never gonna have a room that's just like everybody, media and tastemakers and all that in one room. Shout out to the guy in the MAGA hat. What? Like, I don't even care about a black MAGA hat with black letters, so like we wouldn't notice, we wouldn't see it.
It wasn't red, so it's like, maybe this won't stand out as much.
Saturday, because again, my battery, while I have a strong social battery, that bitch be depleted fast. Saturday I didn't do Mania Night 1. I didn't go to the stadium.
He came to my hotel.
Yeah,
I was nowhere to be found.
Shout out to So Kel Dansby had he had a cabana, he had 2 cabanas, and it was at Circuit, and me, my lady came, Professor came, and we got to kind of see everybody who's did you I don't know, Joe went out there. My man Sway Archer was there, who again works for TNA now. He was there. He was there, with his homegirl Ashley. I got to see independent wrestlers Buzzsaw Samuels and Rachel Rose, who just got married. I'm real tight with them here back home. Wrestling Wind Down girls were there. It was so fun. Like the big screen, everybody in the pools. Shout out to Steel Cage show was there. And we were like 40 deep in 2 cabanas. It was great. Watching playoff basketball, just an amazing experience. Not having to deal with the ins and outs of the stadium. So because it used to be when they liked us a bit more, you can get a +1 to the stadium. So you can bring your lady to the show. That's gone. That's done. So we did a stadium swim. It was super cool. And then Sunday, we had another Black Media Mixer that Hale put on. Really cool room. And Denise showed up because Black Media. Shout out to Denise. We did that. It wasn't far from the stadium, so Hale and I went over there. I met Greg Domino's family, like his wife and kids.
They were all hanging out at the media tent. Check-in. Yeah.
And I look at his daughter, and I'm like, hey, does he buy you all the things you want for your birthday?
Oh, no, Cameron, no.
Does he buy you all the things you want for Christmas?
No.
I said, because he makes me a lot of money. So in turn, I feel like he has a lot of money. So if you don't get what you want, remind him that he has a lot of money and he can afford it. And she was sweet. She giggled. It was very cute. But yeah, hey man, we are who we are, right? But yeah, they I tell you what, I'm not saluting them as an institution. Them boys were hustling this week, boy. Me, WWE PR was working.
God forbid they answer a phone call.
Well, shit. Joe, who's the guy that I don't know? Kind of dark, wavy hair, about shoulder length, with a beard and glasses.
You're talking about Nick or Miguel? Those two guys were there.
Okay.
So they were kind of tag teaming. One was from UFC, and then one was WWE. I think Nick was the guy with the glasses that we saw most of the week, and then Miguel was the other guy who also wore glasses. But yeah,
gotcha. Hey, them boys were rolling. They were
busy. Good. They were busy young boys.
Walking out of the stadium, some guys from WWE, they were like, "Damn, we should have got you to help us push this cart." I was like, "Absolutely not. Absolutely, you got it. I know what you're getting paid. You got it. Push shit. Push nothing."
Like, yeah, I'll do it for money.
Yeah, goddamn right. I was so Alex introduced me to Noel, who's very sweet. We were sitting there cracking jokes. I called my mom from the stadium phone, and then I called Adam from the stadium phone. Adam was sitting like 5 seats down
next to you.
So I'm on the phone, and he's trying to be so like, and clearly it shows like somebody's calling him from Allegiant Stadium. So to him, it's like a super serious thing that's happening. I was like, yeah, we're crack, and we are just down there laughing our asses off at him. And I turned around, I was like, just turn to your left. And he's like, oh my God, dude. He slams it down. So he had a great week. I love that he has that he's with Screen Rant now. It's been a really good situation for him. And
got him on the line for After Dark.
Yeah. And hey, I'm not gonna fight Omos, man. Listen, I just need my lady to not close her eyes when she hugs Omos. What are you dreaming about? Like where are you at in your head? But yeah, we got to I totally forgot about that. Heels Have Eyes. Very fun show that started at midnight. So I got the fuck up out of there about, I don't know, 2:30, 3 o'clock. But it was really cool. You gotta, only at a show like Heels Have Eyes are you going to have me taking pictures of Masha Slamovich and Maya World and Alexis Littlefoot with Matt Riddle doing the lighting on the pictures. That's the only time anything like that will ever happen. I'm like, yo, Riddle, hold the phone up high. Like, I got you, dude. It was cool. It was fun. But yeah, we got up out of there.
You told him he was lighting and he was confused.
It was way better than the last time I was backstage with Riddle, where I may have had one too many scotches and may not ever get invited back to MLW. But it's fine. It's perfectly okay. As long as I'm good with West Side Gun, we're fine. We're perfect. But yeah. Listen, again, I don't know if you just tuned in. Wale Mania is coming back. Jake, don't.
They drove a dump truck full of money up to my house. I'm not made of stone.
I think, and I have not confirmed this, right? So this is just me talking. I think that WWE having their own, branded nightly events during that week, I think that was, I can only say like what goes towards tweets. I think that influenced that. I also think that AEW deciding to have a Thursday show the week of WrestleMania influenced that, because the thing about Wale Mania, this was the smoothest one. It's not supposed to be smooth. It's supposed to be bumpy. Like, I'm supposed to be running back and forth through the arena, getting people in and making sure everybody's like good. That's my job. I didn't have to do my job. I was fine. I was chill. It's not supposed to be like that. So I think the absence of talent, I think, makes things harder. But literally, like, I'm watching Kaz talk to Nick Khan. And he's like, yeah, we're good. Because I think the biggest thing was in understanding that the reason that Wale Mania works is because the talent can show up and be just there and hang out. And that's such a big appeal. Like, Naomi was fantastic. Jay was fantastic. Samantha was amazing. Ricochet. Can't stand him, but he's great. JoJo was there. It would, but Shelton and them came through, but it's super limited now because of it was limited this year because of those situations. But it sounds like there's been a conversation about what this thing needs to be and how much it benefits everybody for it to exist. So I would say, I can't guarantee it, but it sounds like it's not going to be the last one.
I want to get your opinion on something. I touched on it earlier. Fountain Blue, they called it the official hotel of WrestleMania.
Mhm.
And in my brain, it's like, okay, they're trying to push people to go there, and they're also trying to push people to go to the events there. And I said, but there's no way they're going to put the talent there. Cameron, they put all the talent there. What were your? I need your opinion on it, because I am of the belief that, like, I feel weird when I'm in a place that I wouldn't normally want to be with people that I'm not cool with, and like they're all around, but I work like in their world, but not in their world directly. So like I'm curious about your thoughts, because you saw this stuff going on.
2 years ago, it was we had a big party in the lobby of the Talent Hotel. And when I say we, it was kind of a unofficial invite only thing. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we going over here to kick it with such and such, blah, 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 like that. If in the same situation, it was kind of understood that everybody's going there, I don't think I would have went, because we're not there like taking pictures or doing interviews or things like that. Like you said, when it's work, you're not necessarily going to be around those people. But even if you're cool with them, you're supposed to separate that. I think they were looking for moments. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, oh, I can take a picture with such and such. Maybe it was like a trade-off for how goddamn expensive everything was. And it's like, hey, we know you spent your life savings to be here. Maybe you'll get a quick flick with somebody you like. I think that is, there's only so much separation you can do. I do think that kind of infringes on like the talent's piece. I know like that coming from me is a weird thing, but yeah, I don't really like that. But Joel, I'll tell you this, I don't like it so much, I didn't go. Like,
So I found myself there on Sunday night because you were talking about Noelle. So I met Noelle Foley as well. And like, she's friends with Justin Wrestling Classic, and I'm pals with him. So we all ended up in a car, and we were going with Adam. So Adam was going to After Dark after the presser. So I'll get into presser
you
stuff.
were there doing a social thing, not doing a thing.
Yeah, I was there being social, but I was also in an area where it's like, people know that Frank and Noelle are a couple, and Frank's been on our show a handful of times. So like, we know Frank, but we know him as talent who's appeared on our shows, and we're just cool with him because the interviews went well. It's not like, hey, Frank, good to see you, but shook my hand. He knew who I was. He remembered my face, and he's like, yeah, those were fun. And Noelle and I were getting on, like we're cool. So on the other hand, I'm like, I turn around and it's like Big Keisha's there and Jimmy's there, and then like other people from the family are coming around, and then Cardona and Chelsea are on the other side. And I was like, I could so go say hi to Cardona because he knows who I am, but like, also I feel weird because like I'm coming in, like I'm wearing a sports jacket, but I've also got a giant hefty ass black backpack on because I came from work. So for me, it feels weird. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I was supposed to be there, but I wasn't planned to be there. So
but that's
strange.
That means you did it the right way though. You know what I'm saying? Like you understood that there was kind of a separation. And I think that they appreciate that. Like it wouldn't have been no thing if you went to go say hi, but also, they're trying to kind of live in their own lane. Senior nerd, it's always about creating moments. Yeah, I wouldn't.
I'm sure they were told, like, this is a town hotel, and yes, we've been promoting it, but like, is the cost of doing business type of thing. It's like, just it's WrestleMania week. It's just this week. And then we're not going to tell you that this is, SummerSlam. We're not going to tell you the official hotel is like the Hilton down by the airport or wherever they stay. I feel like they just really wanted to make every monetizationable, that's not a word, but it is today, opportunity. They took it. Like, sitting on the stage at WrestleMania, coming out with the talent for the opening of the event. Like, those are things that you had to pay to do. You're getting hit by an ATV that Stone Cold Steve Austin's driving in the front row. That is an opportunity, something that you pay for that nobody else gets. Those are the moments. And
I got invited.
Monetizing moments.
On location invited me to basically do the same thing I did back in LA. Clearly somebody new works there because like, I'm like, I already did this. I wrote about it for Fightful. Like I'm not going to have anything new, but I did a heat check and I was like, can I bring my lady? And they were like, I said, can I get a +2? They were like, did they work for Yahoo? I just never emailed back. I was like, nah, I'm straight. But yeah, it was, matter of fact, I got I got the list of what On Location had this year. Also, again, do they let those weird fans sit in the back of the press conference? Because it ain't the noise, it's the weird ones. It's like that one Macho Man dude who stares at you when you talk to him. Weirdo.
The disdain.
He was looking at me like he was looking at me. It was a Royal Rumble in Tampa. He was looking at me like I wasn't supposed to be there. I was like, wait a minute, bro.
Well,
he's Macho Man. He's obviously supposed to be there.
Man, dig it, motherfucker. So yeah, on Friday, it was the kickoff party, all-inclusive food and drinks, appearance by Cody Rhodes, Top Golf with The Miz, and you got to do the superstar walkout on the stage on Friday. On Saturday, it was a brunch with Rikishi and other superstars. There was also the hospitality inside the stadium. Damn, I could have said, should have went to that shit. And then, Brett and Cena walked through. There was an in-ring photo op. Yeah, so a hell of a move. That would have been cool. But no, I'm going to do that shit. But yeah.
People were paying for it. And that's the thing we talked about leading up to it was, Jeremy, you were saying they wouldn't be offering these opportunities if they didn't think there was a market and a price point that people will pay to do it. And they did. Everywhere I went, there was something going on that someone had paid for to be a part of. And the amount of money that gets dropped over that week is just unimaginable. People who are paying through the nose, and happily so, because this is the one time a year where they either ball out. I saw a dude at WrestleCon, and this is just WrestleCon, walking around with a little wagon filled with replica belts. And like, I'm not talking the dinky ones. I'm talking like the good looking ones. And that's just a snapshot of the money. And that's in a physical wagon. They're balling out, a lot of them.
I feel like you could easily take from that belt.
I was very tempted. I really was.
Reach in as he's pulling it, and he won't know.
No, well, he will when he goes to get it. So he wants someone who's on the line to sign it.
Maybe he knows like how what the weight is, so like he can feel like, oh, wait a second, this thing is now 10 pounds lighter.
Somebody took the European title.
Yeah,
but like in so here's another thing. Like, it's not just WWE. Like, WrestleCon was one of those things where you get in the door, and then even if you look at talent, in some cases, you had an agent on your ass being like, hey, you want a photo? It's 20, 30, 50, whatever it's supposed to be to do that. And I'm like, I'm just roaming this space because I have friends here. And like, the only times that I could like get close to talent was when they literally would wave me over. Like, Moose was sitting at his table and he flags me over and he's just like, hey man, just want to say, hey, I watch you in Cresta. Like, he was putting us over, which I didn't expect from Moose. I know there are TNA talent that have told us that they watch us and that they like what we do. Moose was the last person I expected out of that, especially because we're not always complimentary to Moose. But either way, I was just like, oh, it's shocking. But yeah, like, if you didn't know them or they didn't flag you over, you were stopped almost immediately, and people were paying. The lineups were huge. Tony Storm, massive line. Britt Baker, massive line. And most of the women, massive lineups. Mariah May, Kip and Penelope were together. We saw Willow Nightingale. Willow was sweet as hell too. Our friend Jim was there, and she went over to say hi, and I just happened to be with her and Alex. And yeah, it was like people were making money. Kimmy was there. She was charging $50 just to say hi. I had to shake her hand for $50. Then I just took her to the cluster fudge afterwards instead.
Listen, somebody tweeted that I was saying this is a heat check for WWE, like with what the costs are, with what the prices are, and then of course they send out the media release that they've made the most money ever, and somebody was like, "Yo, you can't do that and not put on great matches. Only 3 matches are good." I said, "Look, I understand that is the business that we deal in. I understand that is how we talk about this thing." On social media, but you got to get it. When you're outside of that stadium, nobody's talking about how many matches were good. They're talking about how they feel. And typically how they feel is good. They are left feeling good. Things that give you good feelings, you will buy into. You will pay for. And so nothing about like what happened tells me that they're all of a sudden not going to get money next year. It's just like, this is, for some families, this is the family vacation. This is the thing we put money aside for the year. Like you said, people are walking out with belts and merch and foam fingers, and you know what they paid, just to eat and drink inside the stadium. And I just, and the perfect encapsulation, Travis Scott took his sweet ass time walking down to that stage, did what he did. Travis Scott's merch sold out every day.
Every day.
It was gone.
Every day. I was there on Monday seeing them fly off the shelf. People were buying it.
It is, we can sit and talk, and not we, but the internet. We can sit and talk about the and social media matters. Don't let I don't want to pretend that y'all think I'm in the pocket like that. But genuinely, when we start to talk about the analysis of the thing you actually see, I mean, it's just like anything else. Dallas Cowboys ain't been good since we were children. Dallas Cowboys are always going to get money because they're an institution that people buy into. And so, I think that there were some real high spots at WrestleMania. I think some of that shit was trash, and it can be that. But again, you listen inside the stadium, go outside the stadium. If your barometer for if this thing works is anything other than how people leave feeling, you're doing it not wrong, but you're not using the most important metric. That is the most important thing. People spend their money and they leave happy. And as long as that happens, train's going to keep rolling. That is just what it is.
I know Triple H got deservedly so, by the way, heat last week for the whole be a fan, don't be a critic, and all of this stuff. He was on McAfee Show on Friday, so I haven't really talked about it since then because we were spending the last couple of days reviewing everything that happened. But he's on McAfee Show on Friday and kind of clarified those comments. And like when you listen to his clarifying comments, it makes a lot more sense. Now, do I think he was defensive and combative throughout the week? Yes, I do. But on McAfee Show, he basically said, if I go tell you or ask you to like, hey, go watch this movie and let me know what you think. And you might come back, I like the movie. I didn't like the movie. Like your opinion on it is your opinion on it. But if I ask you, go watch this movie and tell me everything that was good and tell me everything was wrong, you are going to look at it with a different kind of eye. And I think that's what he's talking about when he's talking about like analysts, like we do, we watch it, we break stuff down like, yeah, like that, didn't like that. What does it mean? What does it not mean? Things like that. And then at the end of his comment was, the online stuff, all that stuff, it matters. We pay attention to it and whatnot, but like, look at the majority. The majority of says we love this, and we're going to listen to the majority. Now, if the majority starts saying we don't like this, then we got to do something different with what we're out here doing. And like there's a point to that. Again, I think he was combative throughout the week. I think he said some things he maybe didn't want to say or shouldn't have said, but his clarifying comments made sense. I see Kate saying definitely not a media trained clarifying comment. At least he clarified it, and somebody was smart enough to tell him, hey, maybe you should word that a little bit differently, so we're not getting so much of like you hate everybody online and you hate what all the online people say. Maybe you should word that a little bit differently. And he at least did that much. And then The Rock comes on. It's like, yeah, it's all fake and everything you saw Triple H do sucked. And I wouldn't have done that.
I do like the idea. I like the idea that like The Rock still actively holds a grudge against Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Oh,
like that he's
my
been
favorite
holding on
thing.
to that since like, and Road Dogg too. Like I hope it's still beef. Like I just like the idea that I made it and I'm gonna give it to you until I can't no more. That's I don't. The Rock, what fascinating. It couldn't be cooler. Like this couldn't be better. How all this worked out. It's so entertaining.
We love collaborating. We've been collaborating for 25 years. We've been going back and forth for 25 years. It's always great collaborating with The Rock. It's always great collaborating with Triple H. You know, they got a great mind. 25 years we've been going back and forth. They say it with such disdain of like, yeah, 25 years I've been dealing with this motherfucker, and still to this day I got to deal with this motherfucker.
Go listen to any comments Paul Levesque has given in the last 3 to 4 years about Dwayne Johnson. Any of the pressers, anything like that, whenever he's asked, he's so like not just unsure of what to say without saying like, oh, he's an asshole, I don't like that guy, but like just look at his face, just study it, and it's absolutely fascinating. Just the amount of, like you said, the disdain and the oh, I don't want to do this. it's like talking to the media. He just doesn't like to do it, but he has to, and he puts on his brave face.
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to do these press conferences. I wish he wouldn't.
NXT was like, when he did the ones in NXT, he was like, I don't want to do this shit, but they had to because they had to babyface NXT for the media.
Was that like, because weird ain't the word. To me, like that whole experience, start to finish on Sunday, was really interesting. I love that EO came. I love that EO had a prepared statement and got up out of there. I thought like that's perfect. Like you just had, one of the most important moments of your career. Let's not muddy it up with anybody putting you in a position where you can't answer confidently. Right? Like I thought that was really cool. I love that they kind of cut back and forth to, Big E and them outside. Shout out to Malcolm. Like he's so sweet. He's so sweet. Like he knows what he did for Malcolm by saying his name. That's really sweet of him.
By the way, I'm gonna put over Malcolm too, because he works hella hard. Do not get that wrong. He should have been there this weekend. He was there. He was in town, but he should have been in those rooms. And I know, and I don't think I'm talking out of school when I say this. I know that he was feeling a little down about not being there, but I know a lot of us, myself included, were just like, dude, you belong there. There's no heat there. You're good there. And I think that what he did was especially helpful in not just making him feel like he deserves to be there, but also kind of legitimizing the work that he does. Because not everyone needs to come in and be super serious guy all the time and ask like the ball buster questions. People need to go in and be interesting and give them just give a laugh once in a while and just enjoy the content. That's okay too. And I think Malcolm knows that, but I think he needs to hear it, on a week like that. And he did.
I asked them specifically if what he asked The Rock, if that caused any type of issue. They said absolutely not. That is not what the situation was. It's just, they only have room for so many people. And it typically went to people who were part of outlets. But it was, when I walked out the stadium, he was one of the first people I saw. I gave him a big hug, told him he was a superstar. It was very good to see him. And you could just, he always smiling anyway, but you could tell how much he appreciated what E did for him. And E's that guy. I saw did you see E on Friday or at Wale Mania, Joe? Or you were at Bloodsport?
I was a Bloodsport. Yeah.
Okay, so I saw E. We were like upstairs by like this media room or whatever, and he's with Chris, and then Chris is just beautiful and sweet, and he's just so happy. And I said, I don't want to talk about wrestling. You just look so happy. He was just beaming. He something about having a good woman by you, man. It is something special about it, man. But he was in great spirits. Shout out to Steve. I did see Steve. Steve was in the room. Shout out to Steve. But no, what I mean is, they cut to Dom, and Dom is impossibly over at this point.
Smart, by the way, not putting him in that presser. I thought that was smart from a character standpoint. Putting him in that room would have babyfaced him more. I think putting him out there on that panel, it was controlled. That worked. It was good.
Jeff Johnson did not have a question for Logan Paul. They just stuck the microphone in his face. He had to make him, and I'm sitting right next to him.
He asked a good question, though.
It was great. It was great on the spot. I'm sitting right next to him. He was like, Cam, I didn't. And then when he said Jeff had 2 first names, he was like, Johnson's not. I was like, Jeff, don't.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. I was like, is Johnson like a first name?
Yeah, let him rock. Rue taking over the press conference. What a sweet baby. She's so sweet.
Yeah, but then Becky turned the following that. She's just setting
it's still a time. You don't you don't have to give a kid up for adoption because you beat up your tag partner.
Although it would be funnier if she did.
That would be a good story.
That's a good bit.
Lyra calls child services and it's just like, right? She had this kid up here on the press conference and then attacked me the following night.
Lyra leaves skunk on front door.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my God.
It all ties together.
Get it. Oh my goodness. And then like, again, the social media thing's so interesting because people were legitimately like, yeah, Cena, get them for those clickbait questions. And it's like, that's not what's happening at all, guys. I don't know if you are
but it was hilarious that Alex McCarthy was the first one, though.
Oh, got his ass. So the first one was like, okay, like, damn, got you. But then when he like just kept, I was like, oh, okay. And people were like, yeah, wait to get the media. It's like, no, guys, it's not what's happening. He's being an asshole to everyone. Have you not been watching the product? It's yeah. But yeah, that was like all the different things that were happening. I don't know if it's ever been that busy with kind of the different personalities and different ideas that they were all doing at once. It was really super interesting. You know, I still like my immediate thought was everybody who's disappointed that they're not in this room, I hope you're not disappointed anymore. Like that night. It's like, because what
Sunday night, I was disappointed more in WWE's treatment of us.
So, you were disappointed. Wait, not to cut you off. You were disappointed when the sun was still up. That's different. I mean, like when we actually saw like the outcome of it. If anybody was still disappointed, then I'm like, yeah.
So let me explain myself. So we weren't in the room. Fightful was not in the room for either night of WrestleMania, the press conferences. I went to PR the second night when we didn't get the bracelet because the first night they're like, oh, we're shuffling things around. I'm like, okay. Spoke to Sean. Sean and I were both kind of in agreement. If they didn't have you tonight, they're probably not going to have you tomorrow night because tomorrow night John will be on the docket or on the dais and who knows who else. You know, if Rock suddenly decides that he wanted to show up, then Rock will be out there. Obviously not the case. And I was like, yeah, that's true. They will have heavy hitters, but we'll see. So then the email goes out the next night and I'm not there. And I go up to them. I'm like, hey, you got room for one more or not? And they're just like, no, we'll see, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, I came here. We're usually in those rooms. I think that's something that we're very good at being is not only there, but also asking good, insightful, respectful questions. You know, you can trust us when we're there. And also like we do things differently than other outlets. And they were just like, yeah, we understand, blah, 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 but there's only so much room, yada, yada, yada. The standard typical boilerplate. I want people to understand I'm not coming at this from a position of being deserving of anything or having a sense of entitlement. My position was, and it still continues to be, that when we're in those rooms, while we do have a name, we also bring a certain level of quality to the work that we do. And to not be able to show that work and be able to prove that we are who we are as an outlet, that I think looks bad. Not on us, but on just WWE's kind of treatment towards wrestling media as a whole. It's not a shot at anyone. It's not a shot to Adrian. It's not a shot to Cam. It's not a shot to anybody who's in that room who gets in there. But for us, I think we deserved more than we were given because of the work that we do. And it just wasn't, I don't think that was shown.
And I agree with all of that. Like I don't disagree with any of it. You know, it was you know, again, my whole thing is like the way that it played out is just like, how many people actually got to ask things like Sticks? Like for real, you know what I mean? It was, again, and not my problem, but the whole back row are in cosplay, you know?
Gotta have room for them.
I remember seeing that. At Money in the Bank. And it's like you had media in the front 5 rows. This is at Scotiabank in Toronto. If front 5 or 6 rows is media on either side, and it's pretty full. And then you've got a hard cam where they're shooting it, and then behind it was like 5 or 6 rows of on location. And yes, it's mostly people in cosplay. And I'm just like, huh? But like, I also understand. Like they pay the money for some reason. They want to be there. Fine. I just yeah, I look at it and I'm just like, I know it's a big room, but like, I just felt a little bit weird.
Newsman wants to do news. How dare he? Pretty
much. And that's kind of what it felt like. And it, you know, it was almost like, well, you want to do news. Well, we want questions about, you know, how do you feel now that you're a champion? I'm like, okay, sure.
How great was Las Vegas?
Yeah, like these were honestly like some of these questions were ones that I was asking in the media scrum, but like I was doing it like with Dakota Kai. Dakota was not on any card, but she was there. So I'm like, you gambling? And she just laughed. She's like, no, I'm not a big gambler. But then we transferred and we talked about food and all the travels lately. And like we tried to make it fun, but also still come back to wrestling. Same thing with Lyra. It was about, it was about her history. It was about the funniest thing with Lyra, by the way, the conversation. I was like, did you name your tag team with Bailey yet? And she's like, nah. And I'm back in my head, I'm like, that's interesting. And then of course everything changed, and also mentioning to her like you could be a double champion by the end of this weekend, and she's like, I don't want to think about that just yet. I'm like, interesting. So I just other people saying we deserve to be in the room. I appreciate that that people feel that way, because I do think we should be in that room, even if we don't get a question. Just to be in there and to be able to report on it is still important to us. So
you're right though, like the same people in there, and again, I love for everybody in there. The same people in there, we get like days and days to ask the funny, regular conversation questions. That is what these media days are for. That's what these appearances are for, that they invite us to. And I don't fault nobody for what they ask in there, but there's ever a time to do something a bit more newsy. That's where it belongs. Yeah.
I think they would have been pretty pissed at me, though, if I had asked on night one, hey, Jay, congratulations winning the championship. How do you feel about your boss basically telling you that you're not a good wrestler on the air? Like, I was going to word it much differently, but that was effectively what I was going to say. It was like, your boss told you, said to the world that we got a guy who's not the best in-ring performer, but he connects with the crowd. Like, and then tonight you won that match decisively. There was a question in there, and that was a little annoying that I couldn't ask like something like that, because Jay was there and he was high. He wasn't high. He was drunk as hell. So it would have been fun to get an answer out of that.
I know that plane ride home probably didn't leave till like Tuesday morning. I know he slept good, man. He looked like thank God, like he operates in sunglasses all the time now. He looked just worn out. And it's hopefully it's the new normal for him, for a while. Like he worked hard to get into that position. You know what I mean? But he looked worn out.
Someone in the chat asking was busted open in the room. They were not, because they were running their own stuff. They were doing their own watch parties.
That's what I missed. Oh God. We left Stadium Swim on Saturday, and I was like, yo, whoever runs the VIP for wherever they were doing the wrestling remix show, it's like, yo, you trying to get in? I was like, yeah, me and my lady, we want to go. They're like, okay, I got you in VIP. Just, drop your name at the door, blah, 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 blah. Man, I got to the room at 9:00, and shout out to Danielle, DTF Media, DTF Mania, one of the best photographers in the business. She was like, yo, what's the move? I said, man, I hit you in 5 minutes. That was at 9:30. I woke up at 4:30. Nope. So did not get to kick it with anybody from Busted Open, except Denise. Again, Denise came through to the media mixer. Again, just the sweetest soul, the hardest working lady. So good to see her.
Yeah, we had a really, really, really good chat just about the work and the YouTube stuff and like Twitch stuff. And yeah, she works undeniably hard on what she does. She was with me while I was waiting for an interview that didn't show up on time. That she was like, stop waiting, just cancel the interview. And I was like, you're the second person to tell me that. We ended up rescheduling, but yeah, we had a really, really nice long chat, and she's hardworking, man. When I saw that she was on live during the show, I was like, where the hell are you? She was in the hotel room doing a live watch along. I'm going to put her over. Okay. I'm going to put her the hell over. Smartest woman in this space on a week like this, because she understands what the content is. She's doing a watch along. That makes her money. She's giving her thoughts, watching the show, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, she's got Alex, Queen of the Ring, going to the presser, getting the footage for her channel, for Denise specifically, paying her to do that. And Alex is going to be there anyway, but that's not the content that Alex normally does. So she's doing it for Denise, making some money and doing that. And she's got a couple of people doing the shorts, once all that's uploaded. But Denise is like, She just got to go to after dark red carpets and go to whatever her media obligations are, busted open, stuff like that. Otherwise, like, she doesn't have to do much at the shows. She's just watching the show. Like, she's big brain, man. I got to give her all the credit. It's something that I heard her do, and I was like, that's genius. Jesus Christ, lady. Good stuff on it.
Shout out to Alex. Good kicking it with her. It was, man, like I said, I didn't see white media until, like, except for you. I didn't see white media until like Saturday or Sunday because I was, was doing the thing. But pretty white indeed.
Oh, you should have heard him try to do his Master P impression this morning, Cam.
Cameron, it
wasn't good.
I was up for 38 hours yesterday. Okay.
Wait. You're saying that exhaustion is why your Master P impression was bad?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a good excuse. No, it's not a good excuse. Can we inception our show and replay this for Cam? Can Cam hear this?
Oh God, no.
Hold on.
I was so out of it that I wasn't even paying attention until I realized what we were doing.
Let's pull this up. Cam, let me know once I pull this up, like, if you'll be able to hear it.
I hope so.
We're gonna inception our show. All right.
I'm so sorry.
All right, hold on. Let's present, share screen.
I got 8 hours of sleep, and that shit still wasn't enough.
Don't worry about it. All right. So if I can play this, you should be able to hear this, Cam. All right, you ready?
We're just going. And
can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can hear it.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Of course, you can do it at any amount to get your question or statement read on the air, and of course, it also guides our conversation. Like when he says, Nah. What is this?
What? Nah. What? Oh, hold on. No. Do you see what I work with, Cam? Do you see this?
Wait a minute. That wasn't Master P. That was Rihanna. Oh, nah. What's my name? Oh, nah.
This is a secondhand embarrassment.
Do you see what I have to go through, Cam?
Joe, you are a gem.
White.
A pearl leader.
Oh, very white. I know who I am.
White.
But I'm a Jew, so I get it.
Oh my goodness. Oh man. That was wonderful. It was great seeing, a freshly signed superstar in the making in Kev Knight. He was around for a good part of the weekend, did the Fourth Rope show. Good talking to Kev. Again, these guys are young, trying to drag me out. Hey, we're going to hang out with me and Trick tonight. We're going to the blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I do. No, I don't. I can't do it anymore, guys. Invite me to things when the sun is up.
I went. So first of all, you had me coming for Fourth Rope, and I appreciate that. I make it. The only reason I didn't was because I was thinking after Janela spring break, I was like, I'm going to go back to my hotel room and chill. And then I ran into a bunch of Montreal wrestlers from IWS that are good friends. And they're like, we're going to Nerd Bar. Joey's doing an after show. Like an after party. I'm like, it's up by me. It's near my hotel. If I'm tired and I ain't feeling it, I'm going to go. 3 o'clock in the morning comes around and I'm finally home. And I'm like, oh, shit. But then I realized that your show didn't end until 4. And I'm like, well, I'm good. But it was me, the Canadians, the Brits, and the Aussies all in a box, or all in a not a box, in a table. Mm-hmm. And that was the best part. That'll be another story for another time, because there was a very funny moment that I can't tell on the air right now, but it had to deal with me not recognizing a wrestler who was quite recognizable and just having that moment when they finally told me who they were. I was like, oh, and I should know. I did not know.
Yeah, it's what a week. What a week.
Yep.
Never again. Never again. No. And now I'm already like you coming to SummerSlam? Fuck no. You coming to Money in the Bank? Fuck no. I might put Money in the Bank. Again, I told you I'm falling in love with California. I've been like a couple of times I'm like, I really, really like it here. So maybe, but
going to 2 shows in one day is what you're gonna do.
But at least it's one day. You feel me? Like, get out of here. Like, do the weekend and like really get up out of here. Like, yeah. But New Orleans is gonna be, it's gonna be fun. I think the good thing about New Orleans is at least for the last few, the two WrestleManias I went to, one of them as media, everything is kind of in one area. And you don't really have to move around too much to go to a show or to go to the convention or all that. Like the convention center was literally like 4 blocks from the stadium. So everything's right there along the line. We were saying it like at the Harris Hotel, it's right across the street. So that's an easier move. Real food. I think there's not real food in Vegas. Like every food is in Vegas.
Just 50% higher than what you'd pay literally everywhere else.
Buddy, I went to some Italian, I think I already said some Italian mobster steakhouse. Walked out that bitch $500 later.
I ate everything on a budget, and I can tell you this much. The Del Taco next to the Palms, outside the Palms, down the street, that got some money from me. Not a lot of it because it's cheap. But every time I was looking for a cheap place to eat, I ended up at that Del Taco. And shout out to the dude who recognized me while I was ordering Del Taco. He was watching
They're
Listen to
so
Boy.
often in such a short period of time you got recognized.
It was the weirdest thing for me because he was just like, "Hey, you're Joel from Fightful." I'm like, "That's me." As I'm waiting for my like bean and cheese burrito. I'm like,
hell yeah.
And, you know, we had a really nice conversation. Dude was really cool. Shout out to you. I'm sorry I forget your name, but I put you over for your production on your interviews because they like the content was fine, but like I told him like you'll build on your conversation technique and all that, but like you had the production. He had great cameras, had great lighting, great mics. Like he had that set up real good. But yeah, shout out to that guy because really funny. But yeah, just run into people at Del Taco, and that's who got my money. Was a Del Taco next to the Palms because it was just cheap and I needed something to eat.
The entirety of the Netflix brunch, which by the way, I don't watch Stranger Things. I should. I know everybody loves it. And I don't watch Bridgerton. That's on Netflix too, right?
I don't watch Bridgerton.
Well, they had violinists playing the themes to all of the top Netflix shows at the brunch. Like 3 violinists just sitting there like getting it. And so, but the whole time it's in their lounge. There's also a full bar, but you just got people walking around handing you shit, right? So they just be like, would you like a beef taco? You goddamn right. Would you like a chicken taco? You goddamn right. Would you like to try this bourbon drink with the candy cocktail top? You goddamn right. I said you goddamn right so many times because I was like, I'm taking all this before I get on this plane, and I slept like a baby. Yeah.
At least you slept. I will say this: I had conversations with people about which night of WrestleMania gave us the better food because they had 2 different nights. If you weren't there for night 1, they did tacos. Night 1. That was very good.
The Chinese was good. How were the tacos?
Yeah, they did both. So I was like, someone asked me like, what did you think? Which was the better night? And I was like, I think I like both nights because I wanted both of those things this weekend, and I got them. So the food was good.
Yeah, it was. It was a fun trip, man. Again, I probably physically appreciate it more at 29 and 39, but yeah, I am off until the 28th. Don't nobody ask me to do shit. I got one thing for PWI. Kev, I get with you this weekend, baby. No. It's a wrap. I am going to. Me and Booster finna take a nap. I might wake up today, might not.
Respect it.
But yeah, fun time. But again, Jeremy, he sent that tweet while I was standing next to him, and I'm just like, it's the craziest thing in the world. And he looked like, again, Shannon Sharp, who is like, super friendly and like super, engaging, was just like not really talking to anybody. He was kind of off like with his people, and now we know why. What a Monday morning for him.
Yeah, he's got a can't be saying too much unless a lawyer's present right now, probably.
A couple of things to sort out. I just not for me to give life advice, but hey, I don't know. We were having a conversation. Actually, here it goes. We were having a conversation after Stand and Deliver. And Sol Ruka, shout out to her, won the Women's North American title. And of course, I tweeted Black Excellence because.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah. And, Sol Ruka self-identifies as Black. Maybe she identifies as more, and that's dope. Good for her. Whatever. Somehow, that conversation devolved into some black men do this with women because they want to be with them. And I'm like, one, I don't know how you reach that logic. I don't know what that means. Number two, I was like, she's a kid. And somebody was like, she's 25. I was like, yeah, I'm 39. She's a kid. And so I think a 25-year-old is a kid. Maybe a 60-year-old should think the same thing. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me. Have a fantastic rest of your show. I have absolutely nothing to plug for the next 4 months because I am done. But I'll see you. Love both of you guys. Joe, get some rest.
Appreciate you, Cam.
But thank you, Cam. See you soon. Oh, the incomparable Cam Hawkins. I told him, I was like, come here and you can talk about your Mania week. And he's like, all right.
Yeah.
It turned into an hour. So here we are. Good chat. Appreciate Cam. Yeah, a lot of that was the week that was. Janela Spring Break, by the way, fantastic show. I do not regret going to that show. I do not regret blowing off SmackDown for that. I do not regret blowing off TNA for that. Sorry, Steve Macklin. It was Spring Break was so much.
Can't believe you. Wait, no. TNA was Thursday. You didn't blow off TNA for that, did you? You blew off TNA for Bloodsport.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry, Macklin. I blew off TNA for Bloodsport. Bloodsport was also a great show. I told you. I had fun. I blew off SmackDown for it. I don't think there was anything else I really blew off for Spring Break. If I look at my master, Pride Style was at Swan Dive. Sorry, I missed
Hall of Fame. How dare you miss?
You couldn't get into Hall of Fame.
Oh,
we weren't allowed at Hall. Well, we weren't invited to go to Hall of Fame because it was a closed door event. I was talking to Steve Argentaro, another guy who's been on our show from Toronto. Amazing photos from WrestleMania, by the way. If you get a chance, he's at Steve TSN. Go check it out. He's been posting them steadily, and he got some great shots from the last couple of nights. But he ended up going with his people to the Hall of Fame because I think they had to pay their way in. And they were like, this is such garbage. Like, it was not cool. So we weren't there. We also were not in the room for the roast. I'm sorry, but I had friends there. And let me tell you, friends, the stuff you heard through the grapevines, that's what it was.
It didn't, like, I saw clips of that, and like, it didn't seem like it was a roast. It just seemed like people were going to be mean for the sake of being mean. And most of these roasts aren't very good anyway. Like, I watch them on, like, Comedy Central used to do them all the time. And there's some good stuff, but it's with, professional comedians and everything. So, like, yeah, there's good stuff to be had. Paul Heyman, Nia Jax, like, they ain't professional comedians. They're just going to go up there and just say stuff. And yeah, that was a bad idea from the start, because wrestlers are petty and thin-skinned.
So shout out to Eric Stevens, who is a former wrestler himself. If you follow him on the socials, he's Eric Cohenreich, because that's his name. He said when this whole thing started, he immediately quote tweeted the WrestleVotes report, and he said, "A roast featuring the most thin-skinned and insecure people the entertainment industry has to offer. What could go wrong?" And I went back, I found that tweet, and I just retweeted yesterday with a whelp. It was not good. It was not a good idea. It was almost self-sabotage to do something like that.
Well, that's why they didn't air it, right? Like, you had to know stuff was. What's that?
I
think they had hopes of it, but
I don't think they ever had hopes of airing it. I truly don't. Like, if they wanted to air it, they would have aired it. They got enough. They got YouTube, they got Twitter, they got Netflix. If they wanted to air it somewhere, they would have aired. They got Peacock, like, they would have aired it. I think they knew that, for, like, one, it was a bad idea. Two, you're doing it after WrestleMania Sunday, so, like, everyone is already kind of in the mood. Like, they're in a little bit of a celebratory mood, but they're also just in, if they weren't on the show, they're in a mood. And they had people up there who were not on the show, so The timing of when they were doing it also called for it. Yeah, we're going to get people who are going to say some stuff. I think they knew it was going to be a disaster, but they went forward with it because I'm sure they got paid a bunch of money to do it. So,
but just, it's amazing. It's not even just the thin-skinned stuff. This is a paranoid industry. You are taught from the beginning of your career as a wrestler to not trust anybody, that your spot is in danger the second you take one. You're taking it from somebody else. Do you deserve the spot? It was on the PC spot. The PC walls have stuff like, you're not here to take a spot, you're here to earn a spot. And like, it's the same thing effectively. Just one requires more finessing and work than the other. So I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised. People told me it wasn't very funny. I felt in a way, I felt bad for Fluffy because I did hear that a lot of people took shots at him that were kind of unwarranted, and like he just wasn't really super into that. So listen, Fluffy's going to be fine. He's got plenty of money, plenty of influence. It was kind of stupid to dunk on the one guy for just one reason. It was stupid.
He does. So I saw one of the sets that leaked that was from a comedian. I don't remember his name. Like, none of his jokes were funny. I was like, this isn't even like, he wasn't even outright mean. It just, he didn't have very funny jokes. Like, no, this is not funny to me. I don't find this humorous. Maybe somebody does. Gabriel Iglesias, like, I'm not gonna pretend to be like a big fan of his. I used to watch the stuff like when he first started and stuff, so I can't tell you the last time I watched like anything he had. But I feel like he does relatively like harmless comedy. Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but he ain't going. He's not like, Chappelle or anything. Like, I feel like Gabriel Iglesias does like relatively family friendly, all things considered, like harmless comedy. So
it's about him and his life and the stuff that he deals with.
Yeah, so I wouldn't think I think he would be good in this setting if it was a proper roast setting and not, let's just go up here with a bunch of wrestlers and be mean. Because look, I did watch that roast of Ric Flair or whatever the hell it was years ago at WrestleMania. That fell off a complete cliff. Like, that thing was a disaster from the start. I don't know how you watch that and be like, yeah, we're gonna be okay. Like, no,
but they don't see it like that. They see it as, we can do it better. And that's why they brought in Tony, and that's why they thought bringing in the comedians would legitimize it, but they didn't bring in. I think Barkov was saying, like, that's why you bring in the friends of the celebrity, because that way people kind of know it. But instead, it was just these random people taking shots at each other, and it was bad. It was the best bit of the entire show was the Miz and like the Joint, and him just like being offered a bunch of times to take a puff, and he was like, no. That was the best bit, and that's a really stupid bit.
Here's the other thing is, there was no like subject to roast. Like, that's the thing with these celebrity roasts is like, oh, let's get Tom Brady. Let's roast him. We got plenty of material on Tom Brady. Let's get Bob Saget and roast him. Bob Saget's a comedian, so he gets it all. Bob Saget works dirtier than anybody anyway. It was just the roast of WrestleMania. What does that mean? You're going to roast like the event?
They should have put Triple H in the chair and said it because it's WrestleMania.
Oh, boy.
And that's something that you're not going to get. That's the problem. You're not going to get, because WrestleMania is now Triple H. It's his show, therefore it reflects on him. You're not going to do the roast of Nick Khan. So Triple H is like the only person from a creative standpoint that you could put in a chair, and then you have to make jokes. And then you get like 90 people being like, I'm going to make big nose jokes, and a bunch of wrestlers who don't make jokes because they're afraid that they're going to get fired the next week.
See, that's the thing is, like, if you just make it, roast of WrestleMania, it leaves it so open-ended to stuff, and that's why you got people of like, let me take a shot at Charlotte Flair. Let me take a shot at whoever, because there's no actual subject to go off of. You feel like you can say whatever you want, and like, that's not typically how roast works. Like, you typically roast the roastee, the person of honor there, and then people take shots at the other people who are there in the room and whatnot. But like taking shots at Charlotte Flair, who's not there, doesn't exactly sit well with me.
Me neither. And like, we're thinking about what the roast was supposed to be. Remember when they did? It was for WWE Network at the time. When they did the Good Brothers watching the shows and critiquing them. What was it? It was like Botchamania, but it was, yeah. I think that's kind of what they expected people to do, or what they thought it could be, but maybe they didn't communicate it. But there wasn't. That's the problem. Again, I'm speculating. Maybe they thought it would be like Botched, where they, maybe this happened in the match, and like they'll make a joke about it, but that's clearly not what happened. They could have talked about like the main event stuff, but then it's just, again, thin skin, don't know what you're doing, just telling them go out there and have fun, guys. And it's like nothing's off the table because it's a closed event. Well, it's not always closed. People will write things up.
Yeah, then then if it's a closed event, they got to do what they did at Sammy's show, and they got to lock phones away. Like that way you can't get this footage coming out. And then it's just word of mouth stuff of like, oh, this person did this and this. And like, maybe it's true. It most likely is. I mean, people lie on the internet all the time, especially, and if you're going to say stuff like that, it's going to get out. But now that there's like footage of all this, it's like, well, yeah, now it's definitely out there. It wasn't a good idea from the start. I think everyone knew it wasn't a good idea from the start. Like when it was announced and who was involved, it's like, this is going to suck. This is probably going to create stuff that they don't want to create. And that's what happened. I hope the people who got shots taken at them have been able to work things out, or they just cut those people off.
They did lock phones up. It's just some people, if they didn't snake one in, then other people on the on the dais may have had a phone or snuck in. I don't know. Regardless, by the way, the dude, the Del Taco dude, his name was Kevin. He doesn't work at Del Taco. He spotted me. Because I couldn't remember earlier. He actually added me on Instagram. So if you're watching, hi. And I did get your message, so we'll get there. But yeah, the roast itself just seemed ill-advised from the get-go, and they proved that it was a bad idea. Will they do it again next year? Probably. Will they do it with a different kind of expectation? Absolutely. If they learn from it, because again, if they made money on it, then they're going to want to try it again. Yeah. Matthew Hook saying you didn't need the roast. Heyman telling a fan that they should be deported was enough on McAfee's show.
Yeah. Heyman said some stuff on McAfee's show that, see, Heyman does that though. Heyman likes to be edgy and stuff, and like there's a time and place for certain stuff, and honestly, like a roast is a time and place for it. It's just, if it's supposed to, there's a difference just between being funny and just like saying stuff, and it feels like Heyman just says stuff and like it's not funny. It's just kind of mean-spirited.
Yep. Well, we got a couple of super chats, by the way. You can send those in and you can guide the conversation beyond the roast of WrestleMania. Please and thank you. Anthony Cruz said, I saw a little person dressed as John Cena at WrestleMania. He had everything, including the chain and all. It was just so random. He even looked like Cena. It was amazing. There was a little person wrestling going on at the Nerd Bar like every night. People were trying to get us to like go in and watch. And I was like, it's really hot in there. They didn't have any fans running. Like the bar itself was cooled, but the room that the wrestling was in just didn't smell good, and it was very small, so I just couldn't go in. But shout out, that's awesome. And Kim Gray sent a super chat saying, hated the night 2 main event. Both Cena and Cody deserved a better story in a match. Never want to hear Fiend again. I hear that. Never want to see Dwayne on my wrestling TV ever again. He can stay gone. Missed you, Joel. We missed you as well. I missed everyone on the show. I'm glad I made a bit of time while I was in Vegas to come on and join. But yes, I said, we'll talk about the main event in a second, and the Rock's comments. I said to someone on the tram going to my gate at the airport last night, they were wearing a CM Punk shirt, and I said, "Hey, were you at Raw tonight?" Yes. Were you at WrestleMania? Yes. I'm like, "Did you enjoy the shows?" He's like, "Yeah, I really enjoyed them." And I said, "I'm going to say something." And I said, I thought Raw was better than WrestleMania." And he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "I can understand that." And then there was someone standing next to me, and she says, "What?" And I said, "Yeah. I liked Raw better than I liked WrestleMania. I thought Raw
She
was full of
punched.
really. I thought Raw was really. I thought it was entertaining. I thought WrestleMania was fine, but I think that the stories that were being told through Raw at the beginning of Raw were stronger than what we had seen at WrestleMania. And she's like, she then turned to me and she asked, "Oh, do you listen to that JD guy?" I'm like, "Or do you see JD?" Something like that. She mentioned JD. I'm like, "Oh, JD McDonough, JD Bighead," because he had just come back last night on Raw on Monday night. It's like JD McDonough, JD Bighead, and she's like, no, JD from New York. I'm like, "Oh, him." He's like, "No, he's not really my cup of tea," is what I said. And she said, "Oh, okay. Well, what do you listen to?" And I kind of said, like, "I listen to this person, this and this person." I'm like, "And I do my own thing." And she's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And so I said where I'm from, and she got real quiet real fast when I mentioned that I'm with Fightful. And I do not know why, and she refused to say a word to me after this. And I'm like, I have no, this woman clearly didn't know who I was because I had to tell her where I was from, but I don't know what that was about. You want to talk about, like, wrestling outside of this isn't real and blah blah blah. To some people it is, and I was very much like, huh? Like, what is this? She just had nothing to say to me after that. So hope you're all right, whoever you were, because that was a very strange interaction. The only strange interaction I had all week, and of course it's at the airport on my way out of town. So night 2 at WrestleMania.
This is why I don't talk to people about this stuff.
True.
I just
like talk to people.
I don't want to talk to people.
I get it. Someone saying JD fans exist. They do. Like, I can't take away from the fact that the guy has people who listen to him. Like, it's just a reality. People do listen to him. He's not someone he's not someone whose content I consume. We all have mutual friends, guaranteed, who are listening to what he does and feel a certain way about him that we don't necessarily agree with. If I met this dude, would I be friends with him? Probably not, but would I be nice enough to him? Like, would I say hi? Yeah, sure, why not? Like, humans are humans. As long as you're not an asshole about it, I'll be fine with you. So I've heard people say that they've met JD in person and that he's not that person, that he is in front of the camera. And that's fine. If that's the case, whatever. I think that's fake as hell, but that's not for me to put out there. I do things my own way. Henry saying I should have worn Fightful merch. No, I would not. I was good the way I was. So anyway, it was a very funny interaction that I think people needed to hear, because sometimes people do get weird over what we do. It's just what it is. So the thing happened. John Cena wins 17. We all felt the way we felt about it. I know you guys talked about it. I know a lot of people were not super jazzed over how that ending went. I can tell you, live in the stadium, people were. There was a buzz. I'm sure you did. There was certainly a buzz in the air when Fiend hit, and it wasn't to promote the next match because there were no matches left. This was the main event. Travis Scott comes strolling down 20 minutes later, finally gets down to the ring, and I'm laughing because I'm like, this is really going on long. Why couldn't they bring him in from like the side stage or something? No side stage entrances, by the way. Everyone got the long walk at WrestleMania, which I thought was like, that was a choice they made. So he comes down and then does the thing, and then it all ends up with Cena kicking Cody in the balls and hitting an egg, winning the title. People were not so jazzed about it. Sure. Okay. And then The Rock goes on McAfee. He announces on Monday night, I'm going to be on McAfee Show, which is hilarious because McAfee had just gotten choked out by Gunther. And it's just like, well, this is fun. Is he even going to be on his show? Of course, Pat was on the show. And The Rock proceeds to effectively say, so last night kind of sucked, huh? Not how I would have done it. Where was The Rock? He was allegedly in Hawaii doing Moana reshoots. Should he have been there for the sake of this story? Probably would have made people a lot happier to see him, because if this is moment mania, which is what it's been for the last God knows how many years, that's a moment that you didn't get. But The Rock comes out on McAfee's show and says, like, I effectively told them after we did the turn that you're good without me. Good luck to you. See ya. Bye. And that was something that, I don't know. I think we know this. I think we know this as people who talk about it, as people who do this show, and people who listen to our show and get a little, fixated on the wrestling stuff. That's who we are. I think we all need to stop putting stock in anything Dwayne does on screen. I think we're done. And I think this is it, because he sure as shit couldn't do a documentary this year because we would have seen right through it. So this was his way of doing the documentary, but instead he did it in an interview form. Next year it'll be in an email or a social post. Him shaking hands with all the wrestlers. I had a great time. Sorry I couldn't be there. I think we're done with The Rock. I don't think we're done. I think he lost a lot of faith from certain sects of people. But he's going to come back and he's going to get the headlines and people are going to get excited and suddenly it's going to be 20 steps ahead and it's going to wear a WWE shirt to a New Japan event and play with the Rubik's Cube again. It was very, very interesting. But The Rock ruined WrestleMania.
This interview ruled. I was cackling throughout this whole thing. The Rock tried to babyface himself by essentially saying the creative sucked, and that's not my fault. I told them I wasn't going to be around. I said, the Final Boss is good. You know, it should be about Cody and Cena. That should be what the spotlight is right now. And by him saying that, he is saying they knew I wasn't going to be there. So what you saw was what you saw. They knew I wasn't going to be at WrestleMania. So when they gave you Travis Scott and they made you believe that The Rock was coming out next, they knew that wasn't the case. That's not my fault. I told them I wasn't going to be there. Whose fault is that? The guy I love collaborating with, the guy I've been going back and forth with for 25 years. That's his fault. He admitted he wanted Cody to turn heel, and he still acts like it's going to come at some point down the line. And when it didn't happen, he tried to say, there was a lot of good parts. There was a lot of good parts of this. But he talks about setting up the Cody heel turn. He's like, what if I get your soul? And it was a litmus test. It was a heat check. And the fans loved it. Fans are like, oh, this is cool. Oh, it's going to sell. This is so cool. And then they went with Cena. He was trying to make it seem like everyone was on board for this Cody Rhodes heel turn, which is not the truth at all, but it rules that he thinks it is. But they didn't go that direction. And instead, they went with John Cena. And then the end of the talking about it, he's like, Cody was a great champion. He's going to be a great babyface champion. Wait till he's a heel, though. It's going to be one of the biggest heel turns. He's going to be such a great heel. He was trying to let you know, like, yeah, I wanted Cody as a heel. This was the right call. They didn't go that direction. Look what they've done instead. Look how things went for them at WrestleMania instead. This interview ruled. Bless The Rock. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be... Oh, he even said one of my favorite parts that's very overlooked. He's like, oh, I know all the finishes. I don't know how they're going to get there, but I know all the finishes with everything. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's very funny that just like The Rock is clued in to the finish of Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley, a match he has nothing to do with, but he still knows the finish to it. And like he can like text his idea in. I'm like, I don't know, brother. Maybe you should go with Rhea Ripley in this spot instead of Io Sky. It just rules that he could potentially text that suggestion in because he knows the finishes to things.
He should just be texting the dirt sheets. He should be texting you the results so you can write the story.
That would be great. Oh, you know what? That's actually a good tweet. Hold on.
You're welcome. You're the first person I thought of when he said, I know all the results. Like, where's Jeremy for this?
Yeah, hello. I've been busy, brother.
I get it.
Hello, The Rock. Since you know all the winners to the matches, can you please DM me the scoops so I can pre-write the stories? Thanks. Much love. Hashtag Mana. Gotta use
hashtag Mana. Hashtag Papa. Oh, it's a shout out to Papa Tui. Heard you had a great week at WWE World.
Nah, I don't use Papa Tui, so I don't want to.
Well, someone's got to.
I at least drink the Mana.
It's true. You wouldn't promote something you don't try.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see if Dwayne starts sending me some scoops.
Would be great. I'm sorry.
This rules. Go ahead.
So El Grande Americano has Twitter now. He only follows WWE. I was hoping that he followed like only Chad Gable, because that would be hilarious. But that's not what we're doing. So Rock points out that he was called to Elimination Chamber because of poor ticket sales, which is something that we kind of knew. I think it was kind of to at least us in Toronto. We were like, ticket sales are down. You bring in The Rock and bring it up to fill the stadium. We knew they weren't going to get 60,000 in there, but we knew that they needed a respectable like 40 to 50. And so The Rock's like, yeah. So Ari called me up and Nick called me up and they said, come to the show. Come and do this with me. Come and fill the house, brother. And so he does it. And he had pitched the turn. So I'm going to hold on. So he's called to Elimination Chamber by Ari Emanuel to help the sales. And he says WWE came up with the idea for the sell your soul angle between The Rock and Cody, and that it would be paid off way down the road and not immediately. Remember when this all started? And Dave was kind of like, the way it was explained to me, Dave being me, was The Rock pitch Cody. Cody said no. Paul said no. Nick said no. And here we are. So they pivoted to Cena. Remember how that was the story? I have a feeling. Yeah. This is completely speculation. Just nobody run with this. I think Rock got upset that he was basically shot down for this idea and said, well, sealed never. And he just did not come back. And this is him baby facing himself post Mania, taking advantage of the negative press coming out of the main event and being like, I told you so. It's this really awful 4D chess that Paul and Dwayne are playing, in which everybody loses, including those two, because everyone just looks bad and the fans suffer. But we keep doing this stupid game to like your delight because it's wrestling and you don't give a shit. And I get it. I appreciate it to a certain degree, but like, I don't understand why we keep doing this and why we keep having this go around. So The Rock left.
Because what do you mean why we keep having this go around? We keep having it
because it's a dick measuring contest and Rock wants to be in charge, not have Paul in charge.
Sure, but we keep having it because one guy's on the board and has like actual power, and the other guy's the creative director and leads all of that. It ain't like these are, no offense to Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. They are,
how dare you,
at the position of the company they're in. They are wrestlers. They are talent. So if they go back and forth and have like petty shots and whatever, like it's fine. It leads to a match and we move forward. Like they are integral parts of this company. And so that's why they keep doing this. And that's why it rules. Steve Austin isn't doing any of this stuff. You know, Austin, when he talked about the creative for WrestleMania 40 and he mentioned like, oh, maybe I was part of it. Yeah, I couldn't make it, whatever it was. And that was it. We dropped it. It didn't matter after that because Austin's just a dude who shows up when he wants to, has lost his four-wheeler skills over the years.
Oh, hold on. The four-wheeler was kind of rigged because it was more like a 2.5 wheeler. He had the two thick rims on the back, and then there was two itty bitty small wheels on the front. So it was hard to control that thing.
All right. Either way, Steve Austin just comes in, does a spot, and that's it. You know, when Bret Hart does all this stuff on the media and he takes shots at various people and he makes eyebrow raises, not like The Rock, after Triple H shakes his hand, it's like, oh, okay, that's a cool moment. These are people who are, I'm not saying top 5. Yeah, no, like top 3 influential people in the company. It's them and Nick Khan are the 3 most influential people in the company.
You know what rules about Steve Austin? I think the reason why he so happily stays away is, you remember Cam earlier, we were talking about, you're with your partner and they make you happy and also they kind of calm you down a bit. I think to a certain degree, Kristen, Steve's wife, I think has kind of done that for him in certain ways. So like, I just envision the conversation of him going up and be like, honey, they came up with an idea for me. They want me to come back for WrestleMania and they want me to do this thing. And he explains it. And she just like laughs and says, wrestling is so stupid. And then he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to go race cars now. And then that's it. And that's the conversation. And obviously Stone Cold's having a great time. Just don't put him behind the wheel of an SUV. But like Rock and Hunter clearly don't have those women in his life being like, no, that's stupid. Instead, it's just like a dick measuring contest every step of the way.
I don't know that for certain. Maybe Stephanie is
purely speculation. I'm not saying that nobody is married or with their partners. I'm saying maybe their partners just don't take the same amount of interest in the work that they do. This isn't about who's actually married or not. Don't get it twisted. I just
no. I'm not.
Some people might take it the wrong way.
Okay. I think that they might care, but again, they're in different positions. Austin can afford to do all of that because he's just in a spot of, okay, let me come in and be talent. Everything. Rock is a board member. Triple H is the creative leader. They're in much different positions. And that's why this stuff keeps happening. Like if I'm Triple H probably feels that WWE is better off without The Rock. Without him coming in there, I think he realizes the benefits of Rock being there and showing up and everything. But I think he also believes, yeah, if I just let me do what I want for some of this stuff, and it'd be better than him coming in, blasting plans, and then who knows when he's going to return. And The Rock obviously thinks like, no, I need to be here because ticket sales are slow. And The Rock still has a passion for it and everything. So he wants to come in and he wants to do his ideas. And then they just get into this petty contest and it absolutely rules. I don't absolve either of these men for the product we got, by the way. I think they both look bad. I think The Rock looks dumb for coming in and doing this final boss thing and then saying, story doesn't need me anymore. I need to take a step back. It's like, what do you mean you need to take a step back? It's not about the souls. That was the whole lead up for Elimination Chamber. It was about the souls, but now it's not about this. What was the point?
And then it was this triple threat. It was about the soul. They pivoted souls.
Yeah, so what was the point of all of this? Like, what are you talking about? That it's not about the souls. And it's on Triple H because if he did know that The Rock wasn't going to be involved, you should have put something better out there. Like you knew The Rock wasn't going to be there. So do something better with this story. The fact that they did not mention him nearly once throughout this whole thing lends further credence to the fact that Triple H just didn't want to do any of this stuff. And he got put into a corner of, okay, well, now we got to make the best of it. Here's what we're going to do, but we're not going to mention him at all. But that hurt the build. Like, you kind of have to mention him. He was a pretty big part of that whole turn. You have to. But then you mention him, and now the expectation is, okay, well, where is he? They honestly, they should have just said he's not showing up. Cody should have said it. Cody should have been like, you sold your soul to The Rock, and where's he been? What'd you do that for, John? You thought he was going to bring you all of this and take you to all of these places? He's not out here. He doesn't care about you. He's leaving you to your own. And he's not going to be at WrestleMania. Cody should have just outright said it. And I'm sure people would have been like, oh, well, Cody's lying. He's, of course the Rock's going to show up. But Cody should have squashed it immediately of saying, Rock's not going to show up. He's not going to be there for you.
People are saying the blame goes to Triple H. I don't necessarily agree with that either, because you have to understand Nick Khan brought in Rock, and Nick and Paul work together. Rock and Nick have a relationship. It's a big, stupid power game between all these men. And I can't put the blame. I don't care about either of these men, or really any of them. But like, they have to, pardon the pun, play the game in this case. And more often than not, Paul is left in a bit of an unenviable position. Because when The Rock comes 2 days after the show that Triple H does put together, that Paul puts together, when he comes out 2 days and basically says, it sucks and I would have done it better, you're kind of like, Paul's kind of left in a hard place. And the only thing that he can realistically do is something that WWE would use, I don't know, people like us for, getting it out into the news about how he feels. And that's the best that they can do, because he's not going to go on McAfee's show and fight back. They're not going to, because then it looks bad. There's a good amount of PR.
But he was on McAfee's show.
Paul wasn't on McAfee's show today. But that's kind of my point.
He was okay, but he was throughout the build to all this. Triple H did a bunch of interviews.
I know that.
All of this.
I get that. My point of all this is in the Triple H, or sorry, I'm just going to keep calling him Paul because he's Paul Levesque. In the Paul versus Dwayne power stupid dick measuring contest, Dwayne came yesterday, 2 days after WrestleMania, when after everyone had already gotten their jollies out about how much the creative wasn't as strong as it could have been. And he basically babyfaced himself and made himself look good at the expense of creative. And we just talked about it. Who's the guy in front of creative? That's Paul. So Paul now is stuck in a position where he cannot and will not be told to go on McAfee's show, for example, today and retort those comments. He's basically got to eat the pie and say, well, I'm just going to go, hope that my next few weeks make me a better soldier in the field. And Dwayne's just going to, do what he does. This was just Dwayne trying to, tell Paul, F you need me, and you screwed up. And he did it publicly without doing it, without saying as much. He would have been there.
Triple H.
Dwayne would have been there in an instant if he had that opportunity. If they had done what he wanted.
Wait, say that again?
Dwayne would have been there in an instant if they had gone with his idea.
Yeah, if they turned Cody, probably.
100%.
Okay, but they didn't.
And then Paul went away. Or sorry, not Paul. Then Dwayne went away, refused to come back, or made himself not available. And now, because they didn't do what Dwayne wanted, again, speculation on my part, because they didn't do that, Dwayne went away. And now his power play retort is to go on McAfee 2 days later and effectively say, LOL, Paul, you suck. And look what happens when you don't do what I want you to do. People wanted me. I wasn't there. So your storytelling screwed it up.
But they could have done a better job telling the story.
Of course they could have done a better job telling the story. And I don't know what did or didn't make it on the creative side of things when it comes to do we talk about The Rock or don't we in The Rock in the story between Cody and Cena, and they waited until hour zero to talk about it. That could have been done better. There were certain things that 100% could have been done better, but because Dwayne came on the show, on Pat's show, and effectively said, you suck, it's your fault, and I could have done it better. That is the power play that Dwayne finds himself in. I think there's a world where Dwayne would love, and again, speculation on my part, would love to get rid of Paul and replace him with Brian Gewirtz at the head of WWE's creative. There just is. He would love to have Brian at the head of the ship. So then they could write a book about it in 10 years. Kind of where I'm at with the whole Dwayne and Paul thing. It's just like, y'all are just going to keep eating each other's egos until God knows what happens, until everyone fails. That's why I'm saying, like, this is the dumbest game of 4D chess where nobody wins and everyone looks stupid.
I think,
but you laugh.
Great. Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's going to drive Cody to like MLW or something.
Cody's never going heel, by the way.
If you ask Dwayne, he thinks it's going to happen. He's still on that train. In that interview, he's like, yeah, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday. By the way, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, he thinks it's going to happen, but that's why it's never going to happen, because Triple H ain't going to allow it. I'm frozen. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it. Maybe it's Joel's internet for once.
No, it's you. You're behind a bit. That's why you're lagging. See? Someone in the chat saying Las Vegas is booing the crap out of Cody. Was booing. Okay, so that to me was more because they were waiting to see the moment. The moment was John Cena getting 17. That's what it was. They weren't booing Cody as much as they were ready to see that John Cena get that number and beat the record. Most people who were there, they were wearing the John Cena gear, and they were like, they love Cena, and it's his last year. The build was like the build up for Cena's last WrestleMania match made it so that it was undeniable that they would cheer for him, and at that point, it would be up to Cena to make people boo for him. But the crowd was what it was. They wanted Cena to have the moment. That is a 5-second delay. Are you back?
Who knows?
If I say yes, you say yes. Yes?
No.
Okay, so it's not too bad now. We're good. Did you catch what I was saying though?
Something about Cody being booed.
Yeah, effectively it was just Cody being booed in Vegas was a lot of people in that show really wanted to see the moment. They wanted to see Cena capture 17. That's what it was all about. The who was the babyface, who was the heel almost didn't matter as much as again, WWE trained you that WrestleMania is about moments and big activations, and the matches don't matter as much. They kind of trained you for that for WrestleMania, and that's what it was. That's why the crowd was so on Cena's side, and also the longevity of Cena's career in WWE. Should have been on Cena to turn everybody in the crowd.
I mean, Cena worked like a heel, and then Cody worked like Super Cena until he lost a belt shot.
Yep. Again, I didn't like the finish to it. I thought it fell flat. A lot of people, it's been talked about to death. It wasn't my thing. What I will tell you, I wasn't the biggest fan of, again, being in the building. So many brand integrations. So many, like, I get it, make the money, but like there is a balance that needs to be struck with giving a good show and giving back to whatever sponsors. I understand those sponsors will pay a lot of bills and a lot of wrestlers will get paid off of that and whatever, they'll be more profitable than ever, yada yada. I get that. But like when it feels like, not isn't, when it feels like every entrance is some sort of brand integration, this person's dressed like this person because we have a deal to make them look like this, that was obnoxious. Like Drew coming out doing the Doom thing, it looks cool, but also there's just no when I saw them setting up, because again, we're up in the sky in this press box. When I see them setting up, I see a big stone. I'm like, oh, is he gonna pull a sword from the stone and then he'll have a sword for the street fight and so on and so forth? And then he comes out and he's like, it's Doom. And I'm like, no, all right, sure. There was just a lot of excess branding that just I don't think needed to be there. But I understand why.
Yeah, that's every WWE show at this point. It's just all branding.
When you get to WrestleMania, though, because it commands the biggest price of the year, like they put it out there. I get it. Again, I'm not disparaging it, but I understand why they do it, and I also know that it takes away from the show for me. That's my opinion. Other people loved every minute of the shows. I just walked out just being like, man, that's a lot of shit they want you to buy on top of the shit that most people already bought. Yeah, overall, it was an experience. That's what I can chalk it up to. It was a moment. There were many moments. I had many moments. And WrestleMania was just a collection of moments, and hopefully the people who were there had a good time and enjoyed themselves. They're finally out of Vegas for at least the next little bit. Found Blue last night for NXT was the last show on the docket for them, and the show was fine. Thea Hale's a little lost girl. Chase U's coming back, and Joe Hendry showed up again. Couldn't tell you that there was a pay-per-view.
I don't know why Thea Hale, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, like with Joe, he comes out, he barely mentions the fact that there's a TNA pay-per-view this week, and he's a champion, and he's facing someone from NXT. Like, where was Ethan Page? Is he okay? Oh yeah, Noam Dar came back. That was nice. He won the British Rules Cup, the Heritage Cup. But yeah, the Hendry thing is just perplexing to me. They really
so.
Go ahead.
There's been a lot of discussion over Joe Hendry being the mystery opponent and that match. You're Mr. TNA Joel. Like, What were your thoughts on it?
So it's really funny because I thought to myself two things. One was, oh, this guy, when they open the doors and say his name at WrestleMania. And then I thought, oh, thank God I did an interview with him on Wednesday, because now we can plug it again, because it went up super late on Thursday or on Wednesday night. So I think I put this out on Blue Sky. I effectively said, for the guy that they're trying to make the ambassador champion, I'm always here. I'm challenging anyone, anytime, any place, blah, blah, blah. And then he comes in and he gets beat. And I understand he's just the TNA champion. It's WWE. It's Randy Orton. Like, there's a reason for it. It's 3 minutes. It's fine. Randy apparently wanted to work with Joe. Joe gets his quote mania moments. From the TNA side, there's a few problems. One, neither Ethan Page nor Frankie Kazarian can make a quip about this on the TV on Thursday, because guess what? The TV's already taped. So unless they're going to slip something in, which I wish they would. So unless they were going to do that, it's just there. On top of that, Joe Hendry, it's fine. I was glad to see Joe. He got his moment. He came out with the TNA title. TNA is over the moon that they got that over, and people, talking about TNA kind of. And then he comes out on Tuesday and he confronts Obafemi and Trick. And he makes one passing reference to Rebellion. He doesn't even say, he just says I don't even remember what he says at this point. That's how impactful his mention of the pay-per-view this Sunday is. But he's facing Ethan Page and Frankie Kazarian, but he's facing an NXT guy on Sunday. And Ethan Page isn't even on the damn show last night to at least.
It was.
Was he?
Yeah, he had a backstage with Ricky.
That's even worse. You're right. He did do that. So they did nothing with Ethan Page and Joe Hendry. And this was your last real opportunity to put over that match, given the fact that TV's already taped for TNA. Though if you ask Joe, that's actually going to be live on Thursday. It's frustrating because they clearly see more in Joe Hendry than they do in TNA, which I get it. I know they clearly want the talent more than the company. It's just I cover the shows and I'm like, there were so many lost and missed opportunities. And I don't know who at TNA wasn't standing up for their brand and the opportunities that come with it, because that's the way it felt. It was more like Joe was on loan and he was WWE superstar Joe Hendry, who has a TNA title, instead of Joe Hendry from TNA, who is the TNA world champion representing TNA.
Okay.
The stuff with Randy on Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it was, Sunday, I thought it was hilarious. I thought the pose into the RKO finish, I saw it coming a mile away, and I thought it was still very, very funny. And then having Randy do the pose himself, I thought was very, very funny. Again, it made me laugh, but it was just kind of came and it went. And then he showed up on Tuesday and I said what I said. So yeah, from the TNA perspective, it felt like a lost opportunity.
Well, it's
a story of TNA. I get it.
Yeah, that's TNA. It's a lost opportunity. So last night's appearance did feel like it was he was on WrestleMania. Let's get him on NXT now as well. But it did all right, he's got a match on Sunday against an NXT talent. Probably be good to promote that. But they don't view TNA as clearly on the level, but they don't view TNA as worth promoting. And I know they're partners and they should, but they just don't. It is just, hey, we want to use this talent. All right, cool. We're going to use this talent. And that's it. They don't feel they're in the business of, and right or wrong, of, hey, make sure you watch this TNA show, because that doesn't benefit them. They don't get anything out of that. They like certain talent. They're going to keep an eye on certain talent. They're going to utilize talent that they might want in the future, but they don't care to promote these TNA shows.
They've done it once or twice before, and their socials will promote it. But the shows, yeah, they're not going to do it. It's a little frustrating. There are moments where I'm just like, what are we doing here? But yeah, he did it. He showed up. He's ecstatic. That's great. People who love Joe Hendry were very big fans of his appearances, and that's great. And again, TNA loved having their title focused on a WrestleMania, even for 3.5 minutes. I just thought it was there could have been more.
Yeah.
Randy Orton is now my TNA champion. He's the guy. Put all the belts on Randy Orton.
Fair.
That young pup. I get it. Oh my goodness. Is there anything else that we need to get through? I know we talk about Dynamite tonight.
I don't know. Is there anything else from like Mania you want to talk about?
No, I think I made myself pretty clear about the press conference stuff. I'm gonna be straight up. The week was a big mixed bag. Some things were really great. Some things were really not great. I think WWE PR means well, but there was just a lot of mismanagement this week. I understand it's the biggest show of their year, and that there's a lot of growing pains and a lot of changes when it comes to TKO and working with UFC and just the way things had to move. It was sometimes a little difficult to find somebody or even just be there. Here's a good example for what was it, for NXT and for that T-Mobile junket. Apparently things got moved around in terms of where to enter so many times that you were going to one entrance and then told to go to another. When I got to Raw on Monday, I went to the entrance that they had moved everyone to for the other shows and told, no, it's actually over a different entrance. And then when I got to that entrance, it was no, that was the Netflix entrance where they were bringing in like the stars. So I randomly like walked up as someone supposedly important was walking in, and I was like, this is not the media entrance. And they're like, no, it's on the other side of the West VIP. I'm like, okay, so where everyone else was coming in. So anyway, there was just a lot of like just miscommunication, mismanagement, stuff like that, which again, huge week of events. I get it. But also I just hope that they learn from this and they really do take stock in this stuff. There are a lot of names in there. There are a lot of people and a lot of faces. I was really, really happy to see friends that I knew and meet friends for the first time that I'd either met through this show or through other events. It was really great to see them. And overall, like a good experience. I wish that I personally had done more every day. I tried to do at least one meaningful thing every day when it came to my output or what I was doing. I didn't feel that way entirely. I'm glad that I went to WWE World on a quieter day. I went on Monday morning and did my walkthrough. I was there on Thursday. Here's where I'll praise WWE PR. They had a press room at World on the second floor of the convention center that had internet. So I was able to do work from there and upload stuff from there, because uploading stuff from Circa, as good as the internet was to stream with you guys, uploading footage was just a pain in the ass. They throttled like everything else, but I was able to stream through StreamYard no problem. So doing it at WWE World again, having a room where I could work with good internet, that was super helpful. And yeah, I mean, World was great. And I was glad I got to go through, walk through and take a lot of footage and enjoy myself on a quieter day. But yeah, overall, like, had fun. Wished I had done a little bit more in certain situations, but we're here and I'm back. I'm tired, but I did it.
I think you did good work, Joel.
Thank you. That's because I didn't give you enough work to do.
I mean, you gave me plenty, like the Joe Hendry interview and the Scrum interviews, but it was all, I knocked those out pretty quickly. I mean, it was Mania week. Like I was on. Yeah, no, I was fine. I was sick. I had the flu. You know, my chronic bronchitis returned, but that doesn't slow me down. You know, I got things to do. I got work to do. So I worked.
As expected.
See, I couldn't do that, like that stuff, like the content stuff that you had to do and everybody else does for that. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. I just want to go and like chill. I know like you can't chill, but like I just want to go and like just have fun and hang out with people. I don't want to like interview people and whatnot. Like that sounds, I do enough. I do enough work elsewhere. So I don't want to go to these events and do more work. Like if I'm going to go to a wrestling event, I'd rather just enjoy the wrestling instead of feel like I got to work and do things, because I'd rather just work from the comfort of my own home at that point instead of traveling and doing all of that stuff. That's just me.
I love talking to people. I love doing interviews. I love researching and getting that stuff. The Hendry interview is a fairly good example of that. When you see the Little Mars interview, she's someone, again, that people mostly don't know. But when you get to know her and the conversation that we had, it was very free flowing, very easy. And the questions were different. You know, part of it was wrestling and part of it was just like her, you know, about what she's been through and what she's doing. So, and we talk about wrestling from a different standpoint, from the training perspective, but also we'll talk about like character stuff. And I like that. Again, what I bring to the table as an interviewer, as a media person, whatever, is that I want to think outside the box. I don't want to talk like, oh, it's your first WrestleMania. How's that? Like, that's whatever. People, they get asked that all day. I'm here to ask people questions that get people interested in the conversation. That's what I care about. So yeah, that's why I go, so that I can do something different. I'm just looking to see something. We're good. Yeah.
Okay.
Dynamite.
That's a show that's allegedly happening tonight. Yeah.
The site of WrestleMania 42, Nolens, Louisiana.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, sure.
The Lakefront Arena hosts Dynamite tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern on TBS and Max and Troller TV, if you're me. AEW Plus. The Women's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament Finals. Chris Statlander takes on Jamie Hayter. Is it Haterade time, baby?
No, feels like they've been setting up for Statlander, so I assume it's going to be Statlander.
Alrighty. The Young Bucks are going to take on Speedball and Kevin Knight, which is the most TNA tag team you can have, and I love it. The most TNA tag team match you can have. We're going to have Generation Me versus Speed Knights. Looking forward to that. Did you see Bald Speedball? Did you see Speedballed? Did you see the photos of him?
No.
He wore a bald cap for one of his streams.
Oh, okay.
He was speedballed. It was very funny. Anyway, this is fun. I like the idea of doing this matchup. All four men are flying crazy people, so I actually really would like to watch this tag match. Young Bucks are going to win.
Yes, most likely.
Big old losers. FTR come back from suspension. Don't know why they were suspended. They did the right thing. They made Adam Copeland go all the way to Toronto.
Yeah, they attacked Tony Schiavone, though. That was kind of mean.
That is kind of mean. You don't do that. I mean, did they attack him or did they just kind of push him around until they got saved?
They were about to pile drive him. That's kind of like an attack.
Yeah, kind of. It's nice of them to have WrestleMania week off, and now they're back to work, or FTR this week.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. And Master P is going to be there. What are they going to do?
I hope he continues his beef with the Texas rednecks.
I miss you, Kurt. Miss you every day. I do like the idea of Master P doing like a House of Glory spot.
Who's like a country, a Jeff Jarrett? Oh, they're gonna do something with Master P and Jeff Jarrett.
Let's go. The week after they cross the Nitro line, where they go longer than Nitro, they bring out Jeff, who people say was the death of WCW. Let's go. Now it's the death with Jeff Jarrett and Master P.
They're gonna 100% do something with Jeff Jarrett. It's gonna rule.
Oh, this is great. Grace saying the Callis family comes out and sings "Rap is Crap."
Oh, I hope someone does come out and sing "Rap is Crap." Like, I think that'd be hilarious.
There's only one thing that I hate, and it's a bunch of crap.
That's what I was saying. Like,
I hate rap.
That's what I was saying. Like, they're gonna feud with the West Texas rednecks, even though they're not there. So
say half of them are dead. I think more than half at this point, actually.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Is Barry dead?
Yeah, sadly.
No, Barry Windham's still around.
Okay.
Barry Windham's still alive. Bobby Duncombe Jr., he died in 2000.
Yeah, Kurt's
Kendall
gone.
Windham. Yeah, Kurt's gone and Vincent's gone. Well, you know, what's his face? Curly Bill, Virgil, he's gone. So it's really I think it's just Kendall Windham and
Barry.
And Barry. So the Windhams will come back and fight with them.
All right.
That'd be fun. Probably not. I think I wouldn't be surprised if there's a House of Glory thing that comes up. We'll see. I found it very interesting that they're going to have Master P on the show tonight. You said he lives in New Orleans?
Yeah, he's from New Orleans.
It could have just been as easy as that. Either way.
Yeah, that's why I'm not reading into. Oh, it's something with House of Glory. Because I don't even know if like that's a thing. Him and House of Glory anymore. I know it was, but like they certainly don't bring it up, and he certainly doesn't bring it up. So you would think like if that was a thing, he would maybe do some type of promotion for it. Like he's got a fair amount of followers and like a fan base and stuff. You would think he would like at least put something on his Instagram that's, hey, there's a House of Glory show. Especially when like Mercedes was coming and everything. Like that would be a time to be like, hey, come check out this show.
Yeah, but I mean, Joe Hendry shows up in WWE. He doesn't promote TNA, so it's like the same thing, right?
Joe Hendry's not part owner of.
That's fair. Well, we don't even know if the ownership is still. That's the other thing, right?
Well, that's why I said allegedly. Yeah.
Go away. Stop it. Go away. Anything else you got to plug before we get out of here? We're back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Jeremy and SP3 break down Dynamite and a plethora of other things. I'm sure SP3 will have his thoughts on Dwayne and Paul. Meanwhile, the listen to your boy today, whatever they're calling it now, the hump. Sorry, my brain is fried. They released their thumbnail for this, and it just says "bald fraud" on it. I see you. It's good stuff. Plug away, Jeremy.
I don't have anything to plug. I'm going to bed.
Perfect. I'm also going to bed. I'm gonna have something to eat. And I'm gonna pass out. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll be back. For Jeremy, you know who I am. You know who he is. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, leave a thumbs out on the three. Leave a thumbs up on this one, and I'm done. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.